Chapter 1916. After that, the sacred courtyard of Yuanshan became even more chaotic. Various large groups fought and killed each other in order to compete for those cultivation places. In the sacred courtyard of Yuanshan, the cultivation place was the most important cultivation resource. It was extremely helpful for cultivation. Naturally, the competition was very fierce. In all of this, the teachers of the sacred courtyard of Yuanshan did not interfere. Since that day, the teachers of the sacred courtyard of Yuanshan seemed to have disappeared. Only a few people were left to maintain the operation of those cultivation places. After that, some small groups began to form alliances and gathered into large groups. One by one, alliances began to appear. And the leaders of those alliances were all powerhouses on the King Sage board. The sacred courtyard of Yuanshan did not prohibit killing. 2 months later, dozens of small and large alliances appeared in the sacred courtyard of Yuanshan. In the mountain where Lu Ming and the others lived, everyone gathered again. Lu Ming, should we establish an alliance? Huang Ling was the first to suggest. I also think it's good to establish an alliance. Once we establish an alliance, others will come to join us and increase our strength. Ouyang Wushuang also suggested. Yes, if we establish an alliance, people will come to join us. If we get to know more people now, it will be of great use in the future. Luo Qianni also said. Then the others also spoke one after another, feeling that it was time to establish an alliance. However, everyone was waiting for Lu Ming's opinion. During this period, almost everyone had followed Lu Ming's lead. At this moment, a message came. Heng Xinghe had successfully obtained a set of array discs in the holy battlefield, covering 100 miles of his residence. At the same time, he had established the Celestial Emperor Alliance. Many people from the small alliances had joined him. Heng Xinghe obtained a set of array discs? Many people's expressions changed. During this period, we sent people to inquire about the holy battlefield's array discs. How is it? Lu Ming asked. During this period, they had also been inquiring about the array discs. At this time, a set of array discs was too useful. A set of array discs could cover 100 miles, and only martial emperors could break it. This was equivalent to having a base, and they were not afraid of being attacked. This was too important for an alliance. This meant that their safety was guaranteed. Usually, they could cultivate in the cultivation place, but it was impossible to stay in the cultivation place all the time. After cultivating for a period of time, they still had to leave the cultivation place and find a place to digest it. Living in the area covered by the array discs, there was no need to worry about their own safety. However, there were only 4 sets of array discs. Once someone obtained one set, many people would join them. Emperor Wu of Yuanshan, the Celestial Emperor Alliance, had left 4 sets of array discs in the holy battlefield of the holy battlefield. However, the holy battlefield was huge. During this time, many people were looking for formation discs. Unexpectedly, Xinghe was 1 step ahead of them and got a formation disc. During this period of time, we have some people Wushuang. Ouyang Wushuang said. Alright, then we'll wait until we get the disc array, then we'll establish the alliance. Everyone nodded as well. Obtaining the disc array and establishing the alliance would be the best. Heng to Celestial. Heng Xinghe was the first on the King Sage board. Now that they were the first to obtain an array disc, many people joined them. It was said that Luo Zhangqiong, Luo Pokong, and Feng Wuchen from the Feng clan had joined Heng Xinghe. For a time, the Heavenly Emperor Alliance became a Leviathan existence. However, Heng Xinghe did not find trouble with Lu Ming because he did not know what Deathblade's intentions were. Lu Ming found Luo Xiang alone. He planned to use the Great Pill Development Cauldron to refine Luo Xiang's spiritual body. With Luo Xiang's potential, he would definitely be able to refine his spiritual body to a superior sky spiritual body. When Luo Xiang found out about the effects of the Great Pill Development Cauldron, he was shocked. Then Luo Xiang entered the Great Pill Development Cauldron. Half a month after Heng Xinghe obtained the array disc, the second array disc appeared. It was obtained by the Divine Fire Alliance, led by the second on the King Sage board. The second on the King Sage board was called the Fire Emperor. He was the pride of an ancient clan, the Fire Tribe. After he obtained the array disc, many people joined him. Suddenly, the Divine Fire Alliance became a force second only to the Celestial Emperor Alliance. After half a month of refining, Luo Xiang's spiritual body also evolved to a superior sky spiritual body. When Luo Xiang's spiritual body evolved, it actually led to his cultivation reaching the Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Xiang's cultivation had already reached the limit of the Supreme Saint Realm. It was normal for him to break through by coincidence. Luo Xiang had a king body and could control one of the King Dao's laws, the speed law. When he became an absolute saint, Lu Ming and the others became stronger. At this moment there was good news. They finally found the location of the array disk. Lu Ming immediately gathered everyone and headed to the Absolute Saint battlefield. The Absolute Saint battlefield was actually a huge array world. It had been built by the emperor himself. Back when the Origin Mountain Sacred Academy was first opened, only Paragon Saints were allowed to enter and cultivate there. But now the Absolute Saint battlefield had been adjusted. Even Bright Saints could enter. The entrance to the Absolute Saint battlefield was guarded by the Saint Court's elders. Entering required a large number of Origin stones. Lu Ming and the others, a few dozen people, paid the Origin stones and entered a spacious secret room. This secret chamber could be considered to have been reserved by them. Outsiders were not allowed to enter. Entering the Absolute Saint battlefield required one's mind to enter. Their physical body would remain outside. This was to prevent them from being ambushed after entering the Absolute Saint battlefield. Everyone sat down cross-legged. Inscriptions appeared in the secret room and covered their bodies. The next moment, they discovered that their minds had entered a mysterious space. Then they discovered that they had appeared on a grassland. It's so real. The cultivation is exactly the same as the outside world. Even the laws are the same. Lu Ming sensed that everything was the same as the outside world. There really was no difference. This shocked Lu Ming. This array world was indeed extraordinary. Previously, when he was helping Ouyang Wushuang in the Xinyuan Empire, the first trial was also to enter a world of formations. However, the cultivators who entered the formation would only be able to form the body of a first-layer martial dominator. Their cultivation and the power of laws would not be able to be used inside the formation. But here they could use it as they wished. It was on a completely different level. The others who hadn't entered the saintly battlefield also secretly felt it, exclaiming endlessly. It was indeed extraordinary that the emperor had built it himself. There are many beasts formed by formations in the Absolute Saint battlefield. After asking around, one of the array discs might be on Violent Ape Mountain. Ouyang Wushuang said. Chapter 1917. Violent Ape Mountain? How strong are they? Lu Ming asked. Violent Ape Mountain is inhabited by a type of ancient violent ape. They are naturally warlike, possess boundless strength and have formidable battle prowess. The strongest violent ape in the Violent Ape Mountain is at the Quasi-Emperor realm. There are many violent apes at the Saint realm. Some time ago, several alliances wanted to explore the Violent Ape Mountain, but they were all killed by the violent apes. Ouyang Wushuang explained. A Quasi-Emperor violent ape? Many people narrowed their eyes. With the protection of a Quasi-Emperor violent ape, it was not easy to get the array disc. But fortunately this was the Saint battlefield, a world of arrays. Even if they died in this world, their real body would be fine. Ouyang lead the way. Lu Ming said to Ouyang Wushuang. Ouyang Wushuang nodded and led the way. Everyone followed. The Saint battlefield was vast and endless. After flying for a few hours, a towering mountain appeared in front of them. Brr, brr. Even though they were very far away, they could still hear the roars and howls that were filled with brutality. They had arrived at the Violent Ape Mountain. Wait a minute. Those with weak cultivation, stay outside and attract the attention of some violent apes. Those with strong cultivation, follow me and kill our way to the top of the mountain. Lu Ming arranged everyone's task. Dying on the holy battlefield wouldn't be a true death. Therefore, using some weaker people to attract some of the violent apes was the best way to make the best use of people. No one had any objections. Everyone approached the Violent Ape Mountain. Someone is coming. Lu Ming's face suddenly changed and looked in another direction. There was a group of people flying over from that direction. The group flying at the front were all young men and women in white robes. They were extremely handsome. Xian Yanjuan. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes, a little surprised. He did not expect to see Xian Yanjuan here. They are from the ancient sacred tribe. Luo Tianyi said softly. The ancient sacred tribe was also a powerful ancient tribe. Those handsome men and women in white robes were from the ancient sacred tribe. The people behind the ancient Saint clan should be the prodigies who had allied with the ancient Saint clan. It was obvious that the people of the ancient Saint clan also wanted to step onto the Violent Ape Mountain to seize the array disc. Lu Ming. Xian Yanjuan looked at Lu Ming in surprise. It's Lu Ming and the others. The gazes of the other ancient sacred tribes and the geniuses outside the ancient sacred tribes turned solemn. The battle prowess of Lu Ming's group left a deep impression on them. Now that they had encountered Lu Ming's group, it would be difficult for them to seize the disc array. Hehe, Lu Ming, I didn't expect that we would meet in the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. What a coincidence. Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. What a coincidence. Lu Ming replied indifferently. Although Xian Yinqing had helped him once in the Tsang state, revealing the Divine Sun's cultivation level and secrets before the battle with him. However, Lu Ming's impression of Xian Yinjuan was still very bad. Back in the Divine Wilderness continent, the two of them were mortal enemies. Many people looked at Lu Ming in surprise before looking at Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming and Xian Yinjuan knew each other? I'm really impressed. How does Lu Ming know so many beauties? Logically speaking, I'm also quite handsome. Why don't I know so many beauties? Huang Li touched his head and muttered. Qiu Yu, Huang Ling, Luo Tianyi and the other girls had strange looks on their faces. As for the other big guys from the desolate race, they looked at Lu Ming with admiration. Xian Yinjuan smiled slightly as if he did not mind Lu Ming's attitude. He said, Lu Ming, are you also here to snatch the disc array? We are naturally here to snatch the disc array. Lu Ming said. What a coincidence. We are also here to snatch the disc array. On account of me helping you once, how about you give the disc array to me? Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. Give it to you? On Violent Ape Mountain there are quasi-thearch violent apes. Even if I give it to you, you probably won't be able to take it down. It's better if we rely on our own abilities. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Following that, he did not waste any more words with Xian Yinjuan. They flew to the other side of Violent Ape Mountain. If the ancient sacred race wanted to snatch the disc array, then let them. Both sides attacked from different directions of Violent Ape Mountain. Whoever obtained it would be the one with the ability. When they arrived at the other side of Violent Ape Mountain, they followed the original plan. Some of the weaker ones rushed towards Violent Ape Mountain. Soon there were bursts of angry roars from Violent Ape Mountain. A group of violent apes chased after those people and disappeared into the distance. Bubbles. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming transmitted a message to Bubbles. Chirp chirp. Bubbles waved her small hands and a space-time tunnel was formed, extending to the top of the mountain. Everyone rushed into the space-time tunnel. Brr. At this moment, a terrifying roar sounded from the top of the mountain. A giant violent ape appeared. It was 100 meters tall and held a giant rod in its hand. It swept the rod towards the space-time tunnel. Rumble. As the giant rod swept across, heaven and earth roared and the space-time tunnel collapsed. Lu Ming and the others had just stepped into the space-time tunnel. Before they could cross half the distance, they were forcefully thrown out of the space-time tunnel. It's really not working. The strength of a quasi-thearch is really amazing. Lu Ming thought to himself. A quasi-thearch was indeed powerful. The moment Bubbles opened the space-time tunnel, she was discovered and destroyed in one fell swoop. This ruined his plan of using the space-time tunnel to reach the top of the mountain. Brr. The quasi-thearch giant ape stood at the top of the mountain and roared towards the sky. Brr. Brr. The entire Violent Ape Mountain was in a riot. Loud roars sounded and violent apes appeared one after another. Some were barehanded, some were holding iron rods and some were grabbing huge rocks. They rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. At a distance, there were huge rocks the size of houses that smashed towards Lu Ming and the others. Charge! Lu Ming shouted. Everyone dashed toward the mountain peak at lightning speed. In the process of charging, Bubbles gently pressed her small hand. The space in front of her fluctuated and those huge rocks were crushed by the power of space. Then those violent apes rushed over. Bubbles pouted and spat out a bunch of bubbles that enveloped those giant apes. Lu Ming and the others attacked and killed those giant apes. As soon as those giant apes died, they turned into energy and disappeared. Following Lu Ming were Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, Luo Tianyi, Long Qin, Huang Li, Ouyang Wushuang, Luo Xiang, Lu Ming and Bubbles. There were 9 of them in total. They were all absolute saints with king bodies and above. When they worked together, their speed was amazing. Regardless of whether they were absolute saints at the initial completion or absolute saint peak, they were almost instantly killed by the group. They were like a sharp knife that rushed to the top of the mountain. On the other side of the mountain there were also rumbles. Obviously, the ancient saint tribe had also started to attack the mountain. The ancient saint tribe has come at the right time. They can help us attract a group of violent apes. Ouyang Wushuang smiled. The others smiled as well. Indeed, the violent apes on the other side were attracted by the ancient saint tribe's attack. The pressure on them was much lower. Chapter 1918. At the peak of the mountain, the quasi-emperor violent ape roared at the sky. Its eyes were red as blood. It stomped heavily, causing the mountain rocks to explode and the entire mountain to shake violently. The violent ape's huge body charged toward Lu Ming and the others like a cannonball. The giant stick in its hand smashed toward Lu Ming and the others with unstoppable force. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming pointed his finger and formed the Chaotic Calamity Finger. It blasted toward the violent ape and collided with the violent ape's giant stick. Boom. In the next moment, the Chaotic Calamity Finger was shattered, but the violent ape was also blocked. When Lu Ming was in the Great Saint Realm, he could cross realms and kill an expert in the Great Saint Realm. Although a quasi-emperor was much stronger than an expert in the Great Saint Realm, after breaking through to the Saint Realm, his combat strength had also increased greatly. He was now able to contend with an expert in the quasi-emperor realm. Chirp chirp, Bubbles stood on Lu Ming's shoulder. She opened her mouth and a transparent bubble formed, enveloping the violent ape. Brr. The violent ape roared and unleashed all of its strength to break the transparent bubble. However, Bubble's strength was enough to contend with a quasi-emperor realm. How could the violent ape break it so easily? Brr. Brr. Roars could be heard from the surroundings as the gigantic berserk apes charged toward them one after another. You guys block those violent apes. Leave this to Bubbles and me. Lu Ming shouted. Autumn Moon, Luo Tianyi, and the others flashed and rushed toward the surrounding violent apes to block them. Lu Ming took the opportunity to attack the quasi-emperor violent ape. He pointed his finger again and a giant finger crushed toward the violent ape. Lu Ming wanted to take out the great elixir development furnace to refine the giant ape, but with a thought, he realized that there was no great elixir development furnace in his sea of consciousness. With a thought, Lu Ming understood. Although this array world was mysterious and unusual, it was not omnipotent. For example, it could not condense treasures that were above the level of emperor weapons. Imperial armaments were forged by martial emperors using all sorts of precious materials. If the formation world could create one, it would be too terrifying. The primal chaos tribulation finger crushed down. The violent ape roared and struggled with all its might, erupting with power to resist. However, it was suppressed by the law of space and time. The power it could unleash was less than half of its usual power. It was sent flying by the chaotic tribulation finger and crashed into the mountain peak. The mountain peak trembled, gravel flew everywhere and dust filled the air. Space Slicer. Time stop. Bubble flew out and circulated the space-time law with all its might. Space turned into a terrifying cutting power that slashed towards Bao Yuan. At the same time, it used the space-time stop power to restrict Bao Yuan's movements. Lu Ming stepped forward and unleashed a primal chaos tribulation finger with all his might. When the two of them worked together, the law of primal chaos and the law of spacetime worked together. Their battle prowess was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Instead, it increased exponentially. The ferocious ape did not even have the strength to resist as the two attacks landed on its body. With a loud roar, its body directly exploded. After the violent ape's body exploded, it emitted a resplendent light. Within the light, 9 array discs actually appeared. So the array discs were inside the violent ape. Lu Ming was overjoyed. With a wave of his hand, he put away the 9 array discs. We've got the array discs. Let's go. Lu Ming yelled and used the hell-suppressing art. 9 phantoms of the hell-suppressing steel appeared and sent the 9 powerful violent apes flying. Qiu Yu and the others took the opportunity to retreat and join up with Lu Ming and the others to break out of the encirclement. Behind them, the other violent apes roared and chased after Lu Ming's group. However, they were not good at speed and were quickly shaken off by Lu Ming's group. On Violent Ape Mountain, Xian Yinjuan looked into the distance and said, "Looks like the array discs have been taken by Lu Ming's group. Let's retreat." Then the ancient saints broke out of the encirclement and left. Not long after, Lu Ming's group left the holy battlefield and returned to their mountain peak. Lu Ming stood above the mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, 9 array discs appeared and emitted a bright light. One of the array discs floated above the mountain peak while the other 8 flew in all directions, forming a light screen that covered an area of 100 miles. Below, the prodigies of the Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, Thunder God Sect, and other forces burst into cheers. With the array discs protecting them, they could cultivate in the Origin Mountain Sacred Court without worry. Usually, when they went to those cultivation grounds, they could go there in groups. After they finished cultivating, they would return here and not have to worry about being ambushed. Whoosh, whoosh. Ouyang Wushuang Long Qin, and the others flew to Lu Ming's side. Lu Ming, now that we have the array discs, it's time to form an alliance. Ouyang Wushuang said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. I'll make Lu Ming the leader. You guys won't have any objections, right? Huang Li was the first to speak. Then he looked at Ouyang Wushuang and the others. Of course I have no objections. Huang Ling said with a smile. I have no objections either. Me neither. Then Long Qin, Autumn Moon and Luo Xiang spoke. They naturally supported Lu Ming as the leader. Finally, everyone looked at Ouyang Wushuang and Luo Tianyi. Of course I support Lu Ming. Me too. Luo Tianyi and Ouyang Wushuang nodded. They were silver inheritors and had to listen to Lu Ming's orders. Why would they fight with Lu Ming for the leader position? Okay, then our alliance will be called the Dragon Alliance. Inform the Sacred Court that the Dragon Alliance will be officially established in 3 days. We welcome everyone to join us. Lu Ming said and made the decision. His eyes shone with anticipation. He had an idea to bring the Dragon Alliance to greater heights in the Yuanlu and become an overlord force. Then everything would start from now on. The Origin Mountain Sacred Court was filled with the best prodigies from all over the world. If they were recruited into the Dragon Alliance now, it would definitely play a very important role in the future development of the Dragon Alliance. Yes, Alliance Leader. Ouyang Wushuang immediately cupped his fists. Greetings, Alliance Leader. Then Luo Tianyi, Huang Li, Long Qin, and the others cupped their fists one after another. Then the prodigies of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect bowed to Lu Ming one after another. Then, everyone busied themselves with spreading the news and preparing for the banquet in 3 days. When the news spread, the Origin Mountain Sacred Court was shaken. The third array disc fell into the hands of Lu Ming and the others. It was indeed shocking. The strength of Lu Ming and the others was obvious to all. They were definitely the strongest force in the valley. Some small groups that did not join the Celestial Supreme Alliance and the Divine Fire Alliance began to consider whether to join Lu Ming and the others. It's better to join the Celestial Supreme Alliance than the Dragon Alliance. Lu Ming offended the Hengxing River and will be killed by them sooner or later. That's right, and the people of the Heng family are guarding outside the Sacred Court. Lu Ming can't even get out of the Sacred Court. If he joins the Dragon Alliance, I'm afraid he will be implicated by Lu Ming. Maybe he will also be targeted by the Heng family. That would be terrible. This was the opinion of some small groups. They thought that Lu Ming and the others would be defeated by the Hengxing River sooner or later. If they joined the Dragon Alliance, they would probably be implicated. However, there were also some small groups that had the opposite opinion. They thought that Lu Ming and the others had endless potential. Although their cultivation was still low now, they would be very terrifying when they grew up in the future. Not to mention other things, Lu Ming's side even had 2 Elysian children. If their cultivation improved, would they be afraid of the Hengxing River? Therefore, some of them chose to join the Dragon Alliance. P.S. In addition to the previous accumulation and the desperately staying up late last night to write, I finally finished 30 chapters and fulfilled my promise to my brothers and sisters. Chapter 1919. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The day of the Dragon Alliance's establishment had arrived. On this day, there were dozens of banquet tables set up on the mountain peak where they lived. Early in the morning, there were people who came to visit Lu Ming and were willing to join the Dragon Alliance. At noon, the number of people gradually increased. However, it was still a far cry from the day when the Heavenly Supreme Alliance was established. Obviously, there weren't many who thought highly of Lu Ming and the others. However, what made Lu Ming and the others happy was that 2 small groups had joined them. The leaders of these 2 groups were all prodigies with king bodies. Then, the prodigies of the Ancient Sun Sacred Ground and Purple Flame Villa all joined the Dragon Alliance. Some of the prodigies of the Purple Flame Villa had made a bet that they would serve Lu Ming for 50 years. Now that the Dragon Alliance was established, they naturally joined it. After the Purple Flame Villa people arrived, another group of people came and attracted everyone's attention. It's the Ancient Sacred Tribe. Someone exclaimed. The Ancient Sacred Tribe was also an alliance. There were more than 100 of them. At this moment, all of them had arrived. However, they were blocked outside the light screen formed by the array disk. If Lu Ming didn't want them to enter, they couldn't enter. Lu Ming, what's wrong? You won't let us in? Xian Yanqing smiled as she walked at the front of the group. Are you here to congratulate me? Lu Ming's voice sounded. No. Xian Yanjuan shook her head as a meaningful smile appeared at the corner of her lips. She said, We are here to join the Dragon Alliance. What? Many people were shocked. The Ancient Sacred Tribe was here to join the Dragon Alliance? Some people were overjoyed. The Ancient Sacred Tribe's strength was very shocking. In addition, there were a few people with king bodies who had allied with the Ancient Sacred Tribe. If the ancient sacred tribe joined the Dragon Alliance, the Dragon Alliance's strength would be very strong. It might even surpass the Divine Fire Alliance and be second only to the Heavenly Supreme Alliance. Lu Ming was stunned. He didn't expect Xian Yinjuan to bring the ancient sacred tribe back to join the Dragon Alliance and rely on him. Back in the Divine Wilderness continent, Xian Yinjuan and he were mortal enemies. They wouldn't rest until one of them died. Xian Yinjuan's resentful expression was still fresh in his mind. What? Are we not welcome to join? Lu Ming were family. Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. What? Everyone was stunned. Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, Luo Tianyi, and the others all looked at Lu Ming curiously. Lu Ming and Xian Yinjuan were family? Could it be that Lu Ming and Xian Yinjuan had some secret relationship? Many people could not help but let their imaginations run wild. Xian Yinjuan chuckled and continued, Lu Ming, you're my brother-in-law. Now that I'm relying on you, do you really not welcome me? These words caused many people to be even more shocked. Especially Huang Ling, Qiu Moon, Luo Tianyi, and the other girls. Young master, are you married to Miss Nianqing? Well, they were so close back then. Now that so many years have passed, it's normal for them to get married. But why don't I see Miss Nianqing? Qiu Moon's mind was in a mess and she felt a little bitter. Then Qiu Moon shook her head and thought to herself, Qiu Moon, what are you thinking about? Young master and Miss Nianqing are a match made in heaven. You just need to stay by young master's side and serve him well. How can you be worthy of young master? So Lu Ming already has a wife, but why didn't he tell me? Huang Ling thought to herself, feeling a little disappointed. Luo Tianyi also had a strange look in her eyes. Among the crowd, only Long Chen was calm because he was Xian Yinjuan's true brother-in-law. Lu Ming smiled bitterly, but he could not refute Xian Yinjuan's words. With his relationship with Xian Yinqing, it was only a matter of time before they got married. Xian Yinjuan was Xian Yinqing's elder sister, so it wasn't wrong for her to call him brother-in-law. Are you really here to join the Dragon Alliance? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and asked. Of course. Now that the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard is divided and you are my family, I am most familiar with you. Naturally, I will come to join you. Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. Don't try to get close to me. Back then you wanted to kill me. I really doubt your intentions. Lu Ming said coldly. People change. Back then I was too short-sighted. Now I naturally have to look further. In this world there are no eternal enemies. Xian Yinjuan said with a smile on his face. Compared to the arrogant and indifferent person he used to be, it was indeed very different. You can join the Dragon Alliance, but the Dragon Alliance has its own rules. If you break the rules in the future, I will not show mercy. Lu Ming said. Of course. Xian Yinjuan chuckled. Her position in the ancient sacred tribe seemed to be extraordinary. The other ancient sacred tribe members seemed to listen to her. Lu Ming did not dare to underestimate Xian Yinjuan. Ever since he met this woman in Yuanlu, she gave Lu Ming a sense of danger. She was mysterious and unpredictable. Lu Ming felt that there was a terrifying force dormant in her body. Once it erupted, it would be earth-shattering. He also felt the same from Xian Yinqing. Then, Lu Ming controlled the disc array and let the ancient sacred tribe members in. Alright, let's start the alliance. Lu Ming waved his hand. However, this was the Yuanshan Saint Court after all, and the conditions were limited. The process of the alliance was very simple. Everyone greeted Lu Ming and then celebrated. While everyone was eating and drinking, outside the area covered by the disc array, another group of people arrived. People from the one only sacred palace. Lu Ming's gaze swept over. A few sky prides from the one only sacred palace stood outside the light screen. The leader was Yuji. Yuji, you have joined the Heavenly Supreme Alliance long ago. What business do you have with the Dragon Alliance today? Ouyang Wushuang's voice was heard. Do you want to change your allegiance and join the Dragon Alliance? The Dragon Alliance does not dare to accept people who change their allegiance at will. A sky pride from the Purple Flame Villa laughed. Humph, we are here today for my junior sister. Yuji snorted and looked at Autumn Moon. Junior sister Autumn Moon, come with us and join the Heavenly Supreme Alliance. If you stay in the Dragon Alliance, you will get into trouble sooner or later. Did Luo Zhangqiong ask you to come? Autumn Moon said indifferently. That's right. Luo Zhangqiong asked us to come, but it is also our own intention. There is no benefit for you to stay in the Dragon Alliance. Yuji said. Get lost. Autumn Moon scolded coldly. Yuji's face changed and became gloomy. Autumn Moon, don't be too selfish. Luo Zhangqiong is the grandson of a great emperor. If you go against him, You will only implicate the one only sacred palace and even your master. Hehe, you really know how to talk. The matter between the younger generation actually involves the one only sacred palace and the true emperor. Isn't it funny? Lu Ming said indifferently. Yuji, don't be so dignified. You are doing this for yourself. If you can bring me to the Heavenly Supreme Alliance, I am afraid Luo Zhanqiong will reward you handsomely. Autumn Moon said sarcastically. Yuji's face turned red. You don't want to get lost? Then come in and have a drink. Chapter 1920. Yuji and the other prodigies from the only sacred palace had a drastic change in expression. They turned around and ran. Their voices came from afar. Just you wait. A few clowns. Huang Li grinned and returned to continue eating and drinking. After 3 rounds of drinking, the banquet finally ended. Those who joined the Dragon Alliance all lived within the range of the array disc. The establishment of the Dragon Alliance and the appearance of the 3rd array disc made the atmosphere of the Origin Mountain Academy even more tense. Because 3 of the 4 array discs had already appeared, and there was only 1 left. The remaining small alliances competed even more fiercely. Killing broke out every day in the holy battlefield. After more than 10 days of competition, the 4th array disc was finally obtained by an alliance. That was the Knights Alliance. The leader of this alliance was a prodigy ranked 3rd on the King Sage board. He was very powerful. In this way, the 4 array discs were all obtained and formed the 4 great alliances. When the remaining small groups and alliances saw this, they all joined the 4 alliances to seek protection. Because without the protection of the array disc, the Origin Mountain Academy was in danger and could be attacked at any time. There were very few people who did not join the 4 great alliances. There were only a few powerful lone wolves such as the son of Death, Deathblade. He came and went alone. But no one dared to offend him. No matter where he went to cultivate, no one dared to stop him. He was too powerful. Now, except for Xinghe, no one could say that they could defeat Deathblade. But in this way, it was confirmed that Deathblade was not related to the Dragon Alliance. But still, most people joined the Heavenly Supreme Alliance. Without a doubt, the Heavenly Supreme Alliance was the most powerful. Someone made a ranking of the 4 great alliances according to their strength. The Heavenly Supreme Alliance was first. The Dragon Alliance was second. The Divine Fire Alliance and the Knights Alliance were 3rd and 4th respectively. In the following period of time, the Origin Mountain Academy was even more chaotic. The 4 great alliances, in order to compete for cultivation places, began to fight and kill. It was not until a few months later that the fighting stopped. The 4 great alliances each occupied some cultivation places. The Origin Mountain Sacred Ground entered a period of stability. The prodigies of the 4 great alliances each occupied a place and confronted each other. They began to cultivate with all their strength to improve their cultivation. During this time, Lu Ming would also choose some reliable people and use the Great Pill Furnace to help them refine their spirit bodies and raise their spirit bodies' grade. For example, the Desolate Race's 4 mid-grade Heaven Spiritual Body Elites, with the help of the Great Evolution Cauldron, all of their spiritual bodies had evolved to high-grade Heaven Spiritual Bodies, greatly increasing their strength. As for Xuanixin, with the help of the Great Development Cauldron, her spiritual body had also become a high-class spiritual body. Xuanixin was originally a true dragon. With the help of the Great Development Cauldron, her spiritual body improved rapidly. The strength of the entire Dragon Alliance was continuously improving. In the blink of an eye, more than a year had passed. At this time, a year and a half had passed since the Great Emperor gave his Tao lecture and announced the new rules. During this period of time, although Lu Ming often helped others temper their spirit bodies, he did not neglect his own cultivation. The place he spent the most time in was the holy battlefield. In the holy battlefield, he fought with powerful ferocious beasts to stimulate his own potential through battle. Lu Ming's cultivation had also successfully made another breakthrough, reaching the great completion of the Absolute Saint Realm. As for the other king bodies such as Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, Huang Li Longqin and the others, they had all made breakthroughs, reaching the great completion of the Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Chanyi had even reached the pinnacle of the Absolute Saint Realm. The higher the cultivation, the harder it was to make a breakthrough. It was already very fast to make a breakthrough in more than a year, and this was also because of the good cultivation conditions in the Saint Academy of Yuan Mountain. If it was normal cultivation, it definitely wouldn't be so fast. As for the divine powers, since Lu Ming's divine powers had reached 90% mastery, the improvement had become even slower. After a year and a half, Lu Ming's divine powers had only reached 93%. Every step was very difficult. Especially the closer he was to perfection, the harder it was. Heng Xinghe had reached the great completion of the Absolute Saint realm a year and a half ago, but it was definitely not that easy to take this step and reach the Boundary Emperor realm. Celestial City was the head of the 9 great sacred grounds in the land of Yuan Mountain. Its overall strength was much stronger than Ancient Moon's sacred ground. Celestial City had a few of the biggest ancient families, all of which had been passed down for countless years. They were powerful and had a strong foundation. Hung family was one of them, known as the descendants of the Celestial Emperor. Yi family was also one of them. Their strength and foundation were incomparably strong, and they were as famous as Hung family. Moreover, He family and Hung family had a grudge against each other, and they competed with each other. 1,000 years ago, the two families had a terrible war, and the casualties were unparalleled. It was only in the recent hundreds of years that things had calmed down. The He family's mansion occupied an extremely vast and boundless area. In the He family's mansion, there were not only endless palaces and pavilions, but also mountains that towered into the clouds and winding rivers. It was like a country. On a mountain peak of He family's mansion, there were a few figures standing. One of them was a white-haired elder with a kind expression. Beside the elder stood a burly young man. These two people were Ice Dragon Valley Master and Tianchui. Not far from them there was another elder. This elder was wearing a brocade robe, embroidered with patterns of different scenery of the 4 seasons. However, he was very old, much older than Ice Dragon Valley Master. His face was full of wrinkles, piled up like a mountain. His hair was almost gone and his vitality was dried up. However, from the moment his eyes opened and closed, there was a flash of terrifying light. One could tell that this person was definitely a very terrifying expert. However, the 3 of them were looking at the center of the mountain peak, where a young girl was sitting cross-legged. This young girl was Lu Ming's first direct disciple, Xiang Lu. At this moment, Lu Xiang's body was emitting a mysterious radiance. The vicinity of the mountain peak was filled with endless vitality. Countless flowers and trees grew wildly. Small trees turned into towering ancient trees, and even some ordinary grass turned into spiritual herbs with spirituality. Boom. After a moment, Lu Xiang's aura suddenly skyrocketed. She broke through. On the side, the eyes of the skinny elder, Ice Dragon Valley Master, and Tianchui lit up, and they were all amazed. Lu Xiang had broken through, and she had broken through to the peak of the Great Sacred Realm. Especially Ice Dragon Valley Master and Tianchui, who were utterly astounded. When they had escaped from the Tsang continent, Xiang's cultivation was at the advanced martial dominator realm. Now that a few years had passed, Xiang's cultivation had reached the peak of the Great Sacred Realm. Xiang was not even 15 years old. A few hours later, Lu Xiang withdrew her aura. She opened her eyes and rose to her feet. A few years had passed, Xiang had become a beautiful young girl. Her figure was tall and her appearance was stunning. She already had the potential to be a great beauty. Haha, not bad, Xiang, I didn't expect you to break through so quickly and reach the peak of the Great Sacred Realm. Such an achievement is rare even in the entire Yuan Mountain. The skinny elder came over and said with a smile. Thank you for the compliment, Senior He Gao. Chapter 1921. What I'm saying is the truth, not a compliment. In the land of Yuan Mountain, there are only a few people who can compare to your achievements. The skinny old man He Gao smiled and changed the topic. Xiang, have you considered what I said before about you acknowledging me as your master? Xiang, thanks Senior for your kindness. However, Xiang already has a master. Without my master's permission, Xiang does not dare to accept another master. Xiang politely bowed and declined the other party's offer. He Gao's face sank slightly and said, Xiang, you have to consider carefully. I am a true emperor. What is your master's cultivation? Although my master's cultivation is not high, Xiang believes that he will become a peak expert in this world in the future. Xiang said tenderly with a firm look in her eyes. In her heart, Lu Ming was the strongest. Although his cultivation was not as high as He Gao's, he would surpass He Gao sooner or later. Silly girl. How can it be so easy to become a peak expert in Yuan continent? Moreover, he can't even protect his own disciple. What achievements can he have? He might have already fallen by now. You are still young. Don't be fooled by the flowery words of others. He Gao said with a smile. He thought that Xiang was still a child and did not understand anything. Xiang's face sank slightly and said, Senior He Gao, you have saved Xiang Valley Master Grandpa and Martial Uncle Tianchui. Xiang is grateful to you. However, please do not insult my master. Otherwise Xiang will have to leave. Alright. I will not force you. You can slowly think about it. However, you have to cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique that I will impart to you. The 4 seasons cultivation technique is very compatible with your physique. It can stimulate your potential to a greater extent. Your talent is unparalleled. I really do not want to see you being held back and wasting your talent. He Gao sighed. However, no one noticed that a cold glint flashed in the depths of his eyes. Alright. Xiang nodded and her face looked better. Xiang, you and your martial uncle Tian Chue should go back first. I have something to discuss with Grandpa Valley Master. He Gao smiled. Alright. Goodbye, Senior He Gao. Goodbye, Valley Master Grandpa. Xiang nodded obediently. After bidding farewell to He Gao and Ice Dragon Valley Master, she soared into the sky and left with Sky Hammer. The moment Xiang and Sky Hammer left, He Gao's face darkened. He looked coldly at Ice Dragon Valley Master and a terrifying aura pressed down on him. Ice Dragon Valley Master's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. His face was pale. He Gao was a true emperor, so Ice Dragon Valley Lord couldn't resist at all. I told you to persuade Xiang to take me as her master. It seems like you didn't persuade her. He Gao said with a dark face. It's Xiang's own choice who she wants to take as her master. What's the point of me trying to persuade her? If she wants to acknowledge you as her master, why would she need me to persuade her? Ice Dragon Valley Master said. He Gao snorted and said, what about when I told you to persuade Xiang to cultivate the 4 seasons technique? Did you persuade her? Ice Dragon Valley Master's eyes flashed with a strange light. He stared at He Gao and said, why do you want Xiang to cultivate the 4 seasons technique? You don't have to care about that. Just persuade her to cultivate it. He Gao said. Ice Dragon Valley Master sneered and said, you can kill me. No matter what, I won't force Xiang to do something she doesn't want to do. You want to die? It's not that easy. He Gao said coldly as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Then Ice Dragon Valley Master's body trembled as if he was experiencing endless pain. After a while, even with Ice Dragon Valley Master's composure, he couldn't hold it in anymore and let out a painful roar. His gentle face was completely twisted because of the pain. Ice Dragon Valley Master kept roaring and his body was covered in cold sweat. He stretched out his claws and wanted to scratch his body, but an invisible force enveloped him and made it hard for him to move. Soul-devouring worms can constantly bite your soul and make you suffer incomparable pain. It's 10 times or 100 times more painful than the physical body. Enjoy it. He Gao said coldly. You're so despicable. If Xiang knows about it, she'll probably leave. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. If she wants to leave, it'll be the time of your death. He Gao said coldly. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared again. He felt that his soul was being bitten by a worm and endless pain drowned him. After a while, He Gao waved his hand and controlled the soul-devouring worms to stop biting. Ice Dragon Valley Master's body fell to the ground and he gasped for breath. His body was drenched in cold sweat. I'll give you 2 more months to persuade Xiang to be my disciple and cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique with me. Otherwise you'll suffer a fate worse than death. Also, don't try to tell Xiang or seek death. Otherwise Xiang and Tian Chue will die. He Gao said coldly. Then he took a step forward and disappeared from the place. Ice Dragon Valley Master took a few deep breaths and sat down with his legs crossed to recover. After half an hour he recovered. He Gao, why are you so persistent to let Xiang cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique? This person is sinister and cunning. He's definitely not doing it for Xiang's sake like he said. What should I do now? Ice Dragon Valley Master frowned and pondered. He Gao always put on an amiable look in front of Xiang. However, after Xiang left, he would show his true colors. He Gao had planted the soul-devouring worm in him to threaten him to persuade Xiang to be He Gao's disciple. Ice Dragon Valley Master would never allow Xiang to be He Gao's disciple. However, this was the He clan. There were many strong cultivators in the He family. Anyone in the He family could kill him with his initial completion absolute Saint cultivation. He wanted to take Xiang and the others away, but there was nothing he could do. He might even implicate Xiang and the others. He returned to his residence worriedly. Their residence was a huge monastery. The monastery was guarded by experts. Not even a fly would be able to get out. Valley Master Grandpa, what did Senior Higao say to you? Ice Dragon Valley Master saw Xiang Xiang as soon as he returned to the courtyard. Xiang Xiang asked curiously. Nothing. I just asked Senior Higao about the whereabouts of Lu Ming and the others. Ice Dragon Valley Master found a random reason. His face darkened and he said, Xiang Xiang, did you cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique that Higao gave you? Didn't Valley Master Grandpa tell me not to cultivate it? That's why I didn't cultivate it. Xiang Xiang shook her head and said, Remember, don't cultivate it. Just cultivate the technique that your master gave you. Ice Dragon Valley Master reminded her. Xiang Xiang knows. Chapter 1922. For the next few days, the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley walked around the courtyard, observing the terrain and looking for a way to leave the He family. However, how powerful was the He clan? Experts were as common as clouds, and there were spiritual senses everywhere. If he wanted to leave the He clan openly, it was impossible for him to not alert the He clan. On this day, the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley arrived outside another mansion. This is Higao's mansion. The Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley was stunned and subconsciously restrained his aura. Then he saw a middle-aged man leading 2 young women into Higao's door. Why do you think Elder Higao often asks people to send young women in? And he even teaches them cultivation? The 2 men guarding the door were middle-aged men. At this moment, one of them spoke softly. Hearing this, the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley's heart skipped a beat. He restrained his aura to the extreme and circulated his Saint power to his ears so that he could hear more clearly. I secretly heard some news. I'll tell you, but you can't spread it. The other man guarding the door whispered. What news? The man from before revealed a curious expression. I heard that these women are all Elder Higao's cultivation vessels. Elder Higao sent these women a modified version of the 4 seasons cultivation technique. When these women succeeded in their cultivation, Elder Higao visited these women and devoured their primordial yin completely, using it to increase his cultivation. I heard that Elder Higao's tribulation is coming soon, but he is not confident that he can survive it. That's why he used this method to raise his cultivation to fight against the tribulation that occurs once every 300,000 years. The man behind explained softly. Hearing this, the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley was shocked. He felt cold sweat on his back. He finally knew why Higao had always wanted to take Xiang Xiang as his disciple and wanted to send Xiang Xiang the 4 seasons technique. Taking her as his disciple was fake. His real goal was to let Xiang Xiang cultivate Higao's 4 seasons technique. Xiang Xiang was a living body. If she cultivated Higao's 4 seasons technique and had her primordial yin devoured by Higao, it would be of great help to Higao. This was Higao's real goal. Ice Dragon Valley Master was terrified. Fortunately, he felt that something was wrong and did not let Xiang Xiang cultivate the 4 seasons technique. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Higao, you old bastard, you're completely heartless. Ice Dragon Valley Master gritted his teeth in worry. He had to think of a way to escape. It was too dangerous to continue like this. If Xiang Xiang didn't cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique, who knew if Higao would use other shameless methods to force Xiang Xiang to cultivate it? Ice Dragon Valley Master returned to his courtyard uneasily. Grandpa Valley Master, what's wrong? Xiang Xiang saw that Ice Dragon Valley Master was uneasy and asked in surprise. I'm fine. Ice Dragon Valley Master shook his head. He couldn't tell Xiang Xiang about this. If he told Xiang Xiang would ask Higao in a fit of anger. Higao would probably fall out with him immediately. He had to hide this matter in his heart and plan in secret. Xiang Xiang, you must not cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique. Ice Dragon Valley Master warned again. Seeing Xiang Xiang nod her head obediently, Ice Dragon Valley Master was relieved. Time passed quickly. In a blink of an eye, a month had passed. Xiang Xiang, in 2 days there will be a grand auction in Celestial City. Let me bring you to take a look. Higao found Xiang Xiang and revealed a kind smile. Okay. Xiang Xiang cheered. She had been cultivating in the He family all this time and had long wanted to go out for a walk. I'll bring Xiang Xiang out for a walk. Higao said to Ice Dragon Valley Master and Sky Hammer, then walked out with Xiang Xiang. Ice Dragon Valley Master revealed a worried look, but there was nothing he could do. Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard, Lu Ming also planned to go out. In this period of time, he helped some people to temper their spirit body and consumed a large amount of holy medicine. Even the holy medicine brought by Huang Ling and the others are not much left. Therefore he planned to go out and buy some holy medicine. For more than a year, Hung family has been sending experts to guard the surroundings of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. As long as Lu Ming went out, they would take action against Lu Ming. Lu Ming is not afraid of this. He has divine breath technique. He can change his appearance and aura. With his current cultivation, even if a martial emperor stood in front of him, they would not be able to recognize him. The reason why he did not go out before was because he did not want to go out. If he wanted to go out, he could go out at any time. Lu Ming's appearance changed. He turned into a young man with a white complexion. At the same time, he changed into a white robe and held a folding fan. He suddenly turned into an elegant young master. Even his aura is different from before. Lu Ming smiled, stepped on the air and flew towards the gate of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. Then he swaggered out of the gate of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. Outside the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard, 2 Hung family martial emperors have been guarding the place. When they saw Lu Ming come out, their spiritual sense swept over Lu Ming's body. They did not find any abnormality, so they did not care about him. Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard is a place where heaven's prides gather. Every day young people come and go. Ordinary martial emperors really can't see through me. Lu Ming faintly smiled and swaggered out of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. Not long after he arrived at this bustling place, he heard that there would be a grand auction in Celestial City today. At that time, there would be a lot of rare treasures being auctioned. Even martial emperors would be there. Lu Ming immediately became interested and walked towards the auction house. After paying a certain fee, he walked into the auction house. So many people. As soon as he walked into the auction house, he saw an extremely spacious hall. Countless figures gathered in the hall. Rough estimation, there are no less than hundreds of thousands of people. Around the hall there were VIP rooms. Of course, they were all prepared for those who were powerful or had prominent statuses. Most of the people can only stay in the hall. Lu Ming casually found a seat in the hall and sat down. As time went by, the number of people increased. An hour later, the auction began. The first auction item made Lu Ming's eyes widen. Because it is an emperor weapon. Lu Ming sighed. Celestial City's grand auction is indeed extraordinary. The first auction item is actually an emperor weapon. However, although Lu Ming covets it, the price of an emperor weapon is astonishing. Moreover, a group of people are competing for it. The price rose to a terrifying level. Lu Ming can only look at it and sigh. In the end, the emperor weapon was bought by a person in the VIP room at a terrifying price. He is suspected to be a martial emperor powerhouse. The auction continued. The value of the second auction item is far less valuable than the emperor weapon. This is natural. In an auction there are at least hundreds of treasures. It is impossible for each of them to be as valuable as the emperor weapon. That would be too shocking. But even so, the second auction item is also a rare treasure. Everyone bid enthusiastically. One treasure after another was bought. Chapter 1923. The 120th treasure, a drop of tear of life. On the auction's high platform, an old man who was in charge of the auction announced. As soon as he said that, the entire place suddenly fell silent. Many people's eyes lit up. It's actually a tear of life. That's an unparalleled treasure that contains endless vitality. Indeed, it can save a life at a critical moment. Many people discussed with fiery eyes. It's actually a tear of life. Lu Ming's eyes also lit up. In the divine wilderness continent, he had once obtained the water of life to heal his father's injuries and re-embark on the path of martial arts. Later on, he had even used the water of life to help Supreme Nine Yang reform his body. He had even used the water of life to refine his clone. The tear of life and the water of life had different ways of achieving the same result. However, in terms of effects, they were worlds apart. Comparing the water of life to the tear of life was like comparing a piece of scrap metal to a diamond. In VIP room number 6, it was precisely He Gao and Lu Xiangxiang. At that moment, Lu Xiangxiang's eyes lit up. She had a body of life. The tear of life was very useful to her and could greatly increase her cultivation speed. Xiangxiang, you want to buy a tear of life? He Gao looked at Lu Xiangxiang, the corners of his mouth curling into a smile. Yes, but Xiangxiang doesn't have that many origin stones. Forget it. Xiangxiang nodded. Ah, silly girl. If you don't have any origin stones, I'll give them to you. He Gao smiled. That won't do. I don't accept a reward for nothing. Xiangxiang shook her head. Just treat it as me lending it to you. You can return it to me in the future. Later on you can raise the price as much as you want. He Gao smiled. Alright then. Xiang, thanks Senior He Gao first. Xiang cupped her fists gratefully at He Gao. He Gao smiled and nodded, revealing a satisfied look. This was the reason why he brought Lu Xiang out to participate in the auction. He wanted to use this opportunity to get closer to Lu Xiang and increase her favorable impression of him. At that time, Lu Xiang would be able to smoothly cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique. The starting price for 1 drop of Tear of Life is 200,000 high-grade origin stones. The auctioneer announced. 250,000. 300,000. Immediately the price of the Tear of Life rose steadily. Not long after, it reached a high price of 500,000. Lu Ming shook his head. Although the Tear of Life was precious, there was no need to buy it at such a high price. If Xiang is here, I can buy it to help her cultivate. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Thinking of this, Lu Ming sighed. He wondered how Xiang and the others were doing. Back then, Ice Dragon Valley Master took Xuaningxin, Tianchue, and Xiang to escape. Later on, they encountered danger and Xuaningxin and Xiang were separated. Now how were they doing? However, the land of Yuan Mountain was so vast. Where was he going to find them? The price of the Tear of Life continued to rise. Not long after, it reached 800,000 high-grade origin stones. 1 million high-grade origin stones. At this moment, a clear voice rang out. Hearing this voice, Lu Ming's heart suddenly trembled. This is Xiang's voice? Lu Ming's gaze could not help but look at VIP room number 6. Although in his memory Xiang's voice was more immature, and this voice was more mature and had some changes, Lu Ming could still tell that this voice was Xiang's voice. Why is Xiang here? And in the VIP room, how is this possible? Could it be that I missed her so much that I'm hallucinating? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind one after another. 1,100,000. After VIP room number 6 called out the price, the number of people who increased the price decreased a lot, but there were still people who increased the price, and the price rose to 1,100,000. 1,200,000. The clear voice sounded again in VIP room number 6. It's Xiang, it's definitely Xiang. Lu Ming was certain that this was Xiang's voice. As for why Xiang did not recognize his voice, it was because he did not use his original voice at all. Who knew if there were any Hung family powerhouses here who could recognize his voice? Next, the price of the Tear of Life rose to 1,500,000 high-grade origin stones, and it was won by Xiang. He Gao smiled slightly. 1,500,000 high-grade origin stones was just a drop in the bucket for him, but it was worth it if he could win a good impression. The bidding continued, but Lu Ming seemed a little uneasy. He wished that he could immediately go to VIP room number 6 to see if it was really Xiang. After all, there were people with similar voices in the world. However, the bidding was not over yet, so he could only wait. The auction continued. Lu Ming did not have the energy to pay attention to the subsequent auctions. He was constantly paying attention to VIP room number 6. The item for auction number 216 is a primal chaos stone. The voice of the old auctioneer rang out, startling Lu Ming. There is actually a primal chaos stone. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was not just him. The eyes of the others lit up as well. Primal chaos stones were born in the primal chaos before the world opened. They contained primal chaos chi and were rare treasures. There is actually a bid in this auction? Everyone stared at the old auctioneer with fervent gazes. The martial emperors in all the VIP rooms found it hard to suppress their emotions, revealing greedy expressions. If they could refine the primal chaos stone into their small worlds, it would make their small worlds even more solid and stable, making them even stronger. However, at that moment the old auctioneer spoke again slowly. However, for some reason the primal chaos chi on this primal chaos stone has dried up. What? There is no primal chaos chi? A primal chaos stone without primal chaos chi is just an ordinary stone. It is not very useful. I got excited for nothing. Many people shook their heads. The primal chaos stone was the most precious because it contained primal chaos chi. Without primal chaos chi, its value dropped by countless times. Lu Ming also showed a look of pity. Everyone, even without primal chaos chi, the primal chaos stone is still a rare material for refining weapons. Its material is extremely sturdy. If it is used as the main material, it can be refined into an emperor weapon. The auctioneer said again. Many people shook their heads slightly. It was just a material for emperor weapons and was not very useful. It was better to buy an emperor weapon directly. The martial emperors shook their heads and lost interest in the primal chaos stone. I must get this primal chaos stone, Lu Ming thought to himself. Although there was no primal chaos chi in the primal chaos stone, Lu Ming cultivated the law of primal chaos. Even if there was no primal chaos chi in the primal chaos stone, it might still be useful to him. Alright, the starting price is 200,000 high-grade primal chaos stones. The auctioneer announced. 250,000. Someone immediately started bidding. Chapter 1924. Everyone bid for the Chaos Stone. Soon, the price of the Chaos Stone was pushed to 500,000 high-grade origin stones. However, at this price, the number of people bidding for it dwindled. After all, this Chaos Stone no longer had any Chaos Chi. It could only be considered as a refining material. Although it could be used to refine imperial weapons, there was a success rate. If it failed, the material would be wasted. Therefore, unless it was a finished imperial weapon, the price would not be so exaggerated. Soon the price reached 800,000 origin stones. Almost no one bid higher. 800,000 origin stones. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The old host asked. His voice echoed in the auction hall. 1 million. At that moment, Lu Ming opened his mouth and called out a high price of 1 million. He did not bid before because he wanted to wait until later to get it in one fell swoop. The old host's eyes lit up. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Young master, you bid 1 million high-grade origin stones. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher?" After that, the old man asked 3 times but no one bid. A chaos stone without chaos chi was worth 1 million high-grade origin stones. It was already a high price. Naturally, no one bid. In the end, Lu Ming bought the origin stone for 1 million high-grade origin stones. A young and beautiful woman came to Lu Ming with the chaos stone. "Young master, this is a chaos stone," the young woman said. She meant to hand over the origin stones. "May I ask if I can use an imperial weapon?" Lu Ming asked. "Of course." The young woman smiled. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. A pair of small wings appeared in his palm. Then the wings slowly grew larger and emitted a powerful imperial aura. Lu Ming obtained this pair of wings from the Golden Crow Crown Prince when he killed him. That's an imperial weapon. Many people's eyes lit up. I didn't expect this kid to have an imperial weapon at such a young age. Some people's eyes flashed with greed. He's so young but he can control an imperial weapon. He must be a prodigy of the Origin Mountain Academy. Someone else said. Those words caused the hearts of those who had been greedy to shake, and they immediately gave up on their greed. The geniuses of the Origin Mountain Sacred Courtyard were almost all from powerful forces. If one wanted to get the attention of these people, one might lose one's life. Of course it's possible to offset it with a monarch weapon. Young master, you can directly auction off the monarch weapon, and the excess origin stones will be given to you on the spot. The young woman smiled. Let's do that then. Lu Ming nodded and immediately handed the imperial armament to the young woman. The young woman also handed the storage ring containing the primal chaos stones to Lu Ming. Following that, Lu Ming's imperial armament was auctioned off. In the end, the monarch weapon was sold for 5 million high-grade origin stones. After deducting the 1 million origin stones and the processing fee, Lu Ming received nearly 4 million high-grade origin stones. The auction continued, and the more precious the treasures were, the more expensive they were. Even true emperors and martial emperors joined in the bidding for the last few treasures. The price reached a jaw-dropping level, which was an eye-opener for Lu Ming. Compared to those martial emperors and true emperors, his assets were simply a drop in the ocean. Finally, the auction came to an end after the last item was successfully auctioned off. After the auction ended, Lu Ming left the auction house in advance and waited outside. Swoosh, swoosh. From the auction house, silhouettes flew out one after another and flew in all directions of Celestial City. Suddenly, Lu Ming saw an old man flying out of the auction house with a young woman. Xiang Xiang. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although the young woman had grown up a lot and her figure was much taller, Lu Ming could tell at a glance that she was his disciple, Xiang Xiang. Lu Ming quickly chased after them. Fortunately, He Gao didn't use too much speed. He seemed to have the intention of bringing Xiang Xiang around so that she could enjoy the scenery of Celestial City. Therefore Lu Ming could still keep up. After following them for a while, they flew for a long distance. In front of them, He Gao and Lu Xiangxiang's figures suddenly came to a stop. "Little guy, why did you follow us all the way from the auction house?" He Gao said coldly as a powerful aura burst out from him. This aura was earth-shattering. Lu Ming's body trembled violently. He quickly retreated 1,000 meters and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was after the other party had shown mercy. Otherwise he would have died from this aura. Senior, it's a misunderstanding. I'm here to look for Xiang. Lu Ming quickly spoke and revealed his original voice. Hearing Lu Ming's voice, Xiang's body trembled. She revealed an incomparably surprised expression and cried out, "Master, are you master?" He Gao was slightly stunned. In the depths of his eyes, a wisp of ice-cold killing intent flashed past. However, it disappeared in a flash and didn't leak out. Xiang, it's me. However, it's inconvenient for me to reveal my true form now. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xiang. He wasn't familiar with He Gao, so he naturally maintained some vigilance. Master, it's really you? With a swoosh, Xiang pounced towards Lu Ming and plunged into Lu Ming's embrace. Master, where did you go? Xiang missed you so much. Xiang choked with sobs as tears welled up in her eyes. Silly girl, aren't we reunited now? Oh right, Valley Master, where's Senior Tianque? Lu Ming asked. They're at the He family? Xiang said. He family? Lu Ming's heart moved. There was a He family in Celestial City that was equally famous as the Hung family. Lu Ming naturally heard of them before. Could it be this He family? Haha, Xiang, this little brother is the master that you often mention? At this time He Gao smiled and walked over. And yes, he's my master. Master, this is Senior He Gao, the true emperor expert of the He family. Xiang introduced to Lu Ming. Greetings to Senior. Lu Ming greeted He Gao. Truly a hero from a young age. Little brother, Xiang missed you a lot during this period of time. How about this, it's rare for us to meet. Let's go to the He family first, how about it? He Gao smiled and expressed his goodwill. And Master, let's go together. Grandpa Valley Master and Senior Uncle Tianque will definitely be very happy to see you. Xiang pulled Lu Ming's arm with a bright smile on her face. Lu Ming nodded and followed He Gao to the He family with Xiang. After arriving at the He family, Tianque and Ice Dragon Valley Master were stunned when they saw Lu Ming. When they heard Lu Ming's voice, they were overjoyed. The few of them gathered together and chatted for a while. Lu Ming found out that when Ice Dragon Valley Master, Tianque, and Xiang were separated from Xuanixin, they happened to meet He Gao and were brought back to the He family by He Gao. After Tianque and Ice Dragon Valley Master knew that Xuanixin was fine, they were naturally overjoyed. Little brother Lu Ming, this old man has something to talk to you about. Chapter 1925. He Gao opened his mouth, saying that he had something to discuss with Lu Ming, which made Lu Ming slightly surprised. He Gao was a true emperor powerhouse, what did he have to discuss with him? When Ice Dragon Valley Master heard this, his expression suddenly changed, deep worry flashing in his eyes. Lu Ming and He Gao left the place of residence and came to a quiet place. You better return to your original appearance. In front of this old man, disguising yourself has no effect. He Gao was the first to speak, looking at Lu Ming with bright eyes. Lu Ming's expression did not change. He already knew that He Gao could definitely see through it. He Gao was a true emperor powerhouse. At such a close distance, even divine breath art could not hide from the other party. Moreover, when they saw Skyhammer and Ice Dragon Valley Master previously, the two of them were stunned at first, then overjoyed. From this point it was not hard to guess that Lu Ming went through disguise. With a thought, Lu Ming returned to his original appearance, cupped his fists and said, Senior, this junior also has a reason for this matter and did not intend to hide it. What's your name? You don't have to hide it from me. As long as this old man sends people to investigate, it won't be difficult to find out your background. A light flashed across He Gao's eyes. This junior is called Lu Ming. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then said his real name. Like what He Gao said, since he had already revealed his true appearance with the other party's ability, it was very easy to find out who he was. Moreover, the He clan and Hung clan had enmity, they would not tell on him to Hung clan, right? After hearing Lu Ming say his real name, He Gao's expression changed and said, You are Lu Ming, the son of primal chaos from the Origin Mountain Sacred Courtyard, the one who pulled out the Heavenly Emperor sword and led the monarchs to war with Stellar River, the Lu Ming? Since Senior said so, then it's this junior. Lu Ming rubbed his nose. More than a year ago, the commotion caused by Lu Ming was so great that even now, the Hung family had emperor-level powerhouses guarding outside the sacred courtyard. That time, it even triggered a battle between emperor-level powerhouses. Lu Ming's name had already spread throughout the celestial city. Anyone with some cultivation base would have heard of Lu Ming's name. Ah, I've long heard of your great name. Now that I've finally met you, you're truly a peerless genius, a true dragon among men. He Gao chuckled. Senior, you flatter me. May I know why Senior has called me here? Lu Ming cupped his fists and asked. He Gao couldn't have looked for him just to ask about his true identity, right? I heard that you are Xiang's master? He Gao asked. Lu Ming was taken aback and said, That's right. Xiang is my true disciple. Lu Ming, to tell you the truth, Xiang's physique is very suitable to inherit this old man's mantle. Therefore I also want to accept Xiang as my last disciple. However, Xiang said that it depends on your opinion. Therefore, you should persuade Xiang to accept this old man as her master. He Gao went straight to the point and spoke his thoughts. Lu Ming's face changed and said, Senior, you want me to persuade my disciple to change her master? I'm just giving her a better choice. Lu Ming, this old man is a true emperor. If Xiang becomes my disciple, her talent and potential will be better displayed. Moreover, you are now in a precarious situation. You are surrounded by the Hung family. If Xiang follows you, do you want her to take the risk with you? He Gao said. This. Lu Ming showed a look of contemplation. Lu Ming, if you are thinking for Xiang's good, you should persuade her to accept this old man. With the He family's resources supporting her, she will be able to reach the peak. He Gao continued. Senior, the matter of accepting a master is purely a personal wish. I can persuade Xiang, but whether Xiang is willing or not is up to her. Lu Ming said. A trace of sharpness flashed in the depths of He Gao's eyes. Then he smiled and said, That's good too. You go and persuade her first. Since you two have reunited, you can stay in the He family for a few more days. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Then He Gao called someone to bring Lu Ming back to Xiang's residence. After Lu Ming left, cold killing intent flashed in He Gao's eyes. Humph, you want to be perfunctory with this old man? You really don't know what death is. He Gao snorted coldly. With his experience, he could see at a glance that Lu Ming was completely perfunctory just now. He didn't really want to persuade Xiang to accept him as a master. I didn't expect that the master Xiang was talking about is actually this brat Lu Ming. As long as this brat is dead, that brat Xiang will have to obediently accept this old man as her master and cultivate the 4 seasons cultivation technique. Moreover, this brat is very valuable now. Cold killing intent flashed in He Gao's eyes. Then he took a step out and left the He family, heading towards the other direction of Celestial City. Soon, a vast group of palaces appeared in front of him. This was the Hung family. He Gao wanted to borrow a knife to kill someone, to borrow the knife of the Hung family. Who is it? He Gao's arrival naturally alarmed the experts of the Hung family. Boom. The aura of a true emperor erupted from He Gao's body, enveloping a large part of the Hung family's palaces. Let your true emperor come out to see me. He Gao's voice resounded. In the next moment, a terrifying aura erupted from the palaces of the Hung family. A middle-aged man stepped out and stood in the sky, looking at He Gao. Old ghost He Gao, why have you come to my Hung family? The true emperor of the Hung family said coldly. The Hung family and the He family had been at odds since ancient times. Naturally, he didn't have a good attitude towards He Gao. I'm here to make a deal with you. He Gao smiled faintly. What deal? The true emperor of the Hung family asked. It's about Lu Ming. He Gao said. Lu Ming? Isn't he in the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain? Do you have a way to enter the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain and capture Lu Ming? The true emperor of the Hung family sneered with disdain. The Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain was guarded by 3 great emperors. Even the great emperor of the Hung family couldn't directly enter the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain and capture Lu Ming. Who said that Lu Ming is in the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain? He Gao smiled. Not in the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain? That's impossible. My Hung family has always had experts guarding outside the academy. The true emperor of the Hung family's expression changed. Humph, that's because your Hung family is trash. Lu Ming is already out of the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain. He Gao sneered. He Gao, do you know where Lu Ming is? The true emperor of the Hung family's eyes lit up. Yes, but I can't tell you the news for free. You'll have to pay the price. He Gao said. What do you want? The true emperor of the Hung family narrowed his eyes. Tribulation transcending divine robe. He Gao slowly said. The true emperor of the Hung family's expression changed drastically. He shouted, "Tribulation transcending divine robe. Ye Gao, you're asking for too much. Impossible." The tribulation transcending divine robe was shockingly valuable for martial emperors. It could help martial emperors overcome their tribulations. It was many times more valuable than ordinary tribulation transcending heavenly treasures. Ordinary tribulation transcending heavenly treasures were useless for martial emperors. Chapter 1926. Every 333,333 years, martial emperors would have to face a great tribulation, each one more powerful than the last. Since ancient times, countless powerhouses, peerless emperor-level powerhouses, had been reduced to ashes by the heavenly tribulation. There were very, very few people who could live forever. Who would want to die to a tribulation at the true emperor level? Thus, the tribulation transcendence divine robe that could increase one's chances of surviving the tribulation was invaluable to martial emperors. Surviving a tribulation would allow one to live for 300,000 more years. During this time, one could go to dangerous places and obtain fortune. Perhaps their cultivation would reach the next level and they would be able to survive the next tribulation. No wonder the Hung true emperor reacted so strongly when He Gao mentioned the tribulation transcendence divine robe. Let me tell you, Lu Ming will return to Origin Mountain Sacred Institution soon. Once he's there, you won't be able to capture him and get the heavenly emperor's sword. Think carefully, which is more important, the tribulation transcendence divine robe or the heavenly emperor's sword? He Gao sneered. The Hung true emperor's expression changed, seemingly considering the possibility. Give him the tribulation transcendence divine robe. Another voice came from the Hung clan's palace. Next, a white-haired old man stepped out. He was also a true emperor. He Gao's expression changed slightly as he retreated 100 miles, afraid of being surrounded. The He and Hung clan had been enemies for a long time. He naturally had to be careful. He Gao, we can give you the tribulation transcendence divine robe, but I hope you're not lying to us. Otherwise the Hung clan will go all out to kill you. The white-haired old man said coldly. Give me the tribulation transcendence divine robe and I'll take you to Lu Ming. He Gao said. Very well, here you go. The white-haired old man nodded and returned to the Hung clan. After a while he came out again and waved his hand, sending a storage ring to He Gao. He Gao received it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. His face lit up with joy. This was killing two birds with one stone. He could get rid of Lu Ming and make Xiang give up. She could become his disciple, cultivate the 4 seasons merit art, and get the tribulation transcendence divine robe. As long as the plan worked, he had a 90% chance of surviving the tribulation and increasing his lifespan by 33,333 years. He Gao can tell us now. Where's Lu Ming? The emperor from the Hung clan. Lu Ming is my guest at my mansion. He Gao smiled. Come, we'll go with you. The white-haired true emperor from the Hung clan said and followed He Gao back to the He clan. After Lu Ming and He Gao parted ways, he frowned. The Emperor Li was emperor to a true heavenly immortal emperor. A true emperor taking Xiang as a true heavenly immortal emperor's disciple was naturally a good thing for Xiang. But for some reason Lu Ming felt uncomfortable when facing He Gao. He felt that He Gao didn't just want to take Xiang as a true heavenly immortal emperor. He Gao gave Lu Ming an extremely dangerous feeling. So he promised He Gao that he would persuade Xiang. It was purely perfunctory. I must take Xiang and the others away as soon as possible. As long as they enter the Origin Mountain Sacred Courtyard, they will be safe. But how? In Lu Ming's mind he was thinking of countermeasures rapidly. After a while he saw Xiang's courtyard. Outside the courtyard, the Ice Dragon Valley Master was pacing back and forth anxiously. Seeing Lu Ming return, the Ice Dragon Valley Master was overjoyed. The person who led the way also bid farewell and left. Lu Ming, what did He Gao say to you? Did he ask you to persuade Xiang to acknowledge him as her master? The Ice Dragon Valley Master hurriedly came over and asked. Yes, the Valley Master also knows? Lu Ming nodded and replied. Lu Ming, you must not agree to He Gao's request. Otherwise Xiang will be in danger. The Ice Dragon Valley Master said anxiously. Valley Master, what's going on? Lu Ming's face changed and asked. He Gao is probably using Xiang. Immediately, the Ice Dragon Valley Master told him that He Gao might be using Xiang to cultivate his cultivation technique to fight against the heavenly tribulation. What? Damn it. After hearing that, Lu Ming was shocked. He roared furiously and his eyes emitted a cold, murderous intent. He Gao wanted to take Xiang Xiang as his disciple. It was not true at all. He just wanted to use Xiang Xiang. No wonder Lu Ming had a bad feeling before. Oh no, He Gao knows my true identity. He will definitely not let me go. We have to leave immediately. Suddenly Lu Ming's face changed. At this moment, all kinds of possibilities flashed through Lu Ming's mind. If he were He Gao, he would directly kill Lu Ming. In this way, Xiang Xiang would lose her master and it would be much easier for her to join someone else. He could even go to the Hung family to seek benefits, killing two birds with one stone. Thinking of this, Lu Ming was extremely anxious. Valley Master, let's go. We have to leave the Hung family immediately. After saying that, Lu Ming rushed into the courtyard. Seeing Xiang Xiang and Tian Chue, Lu Ming immediately summoned the mountain and river diagram and said, Valley Master, Xiang Xiang, senior brother, quickly enter the mountain and river diagram. I will take you away from the He family. Master, this is... Xiang Xiang was puzzled. There is no time to explain. Hurry. Lu Ming shouted. A white light flashed and Xiang Xiang and Tian Chue were kept into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming, do you have any way to get out? Ice Dragon Valley Master asked anxiously. Valley Master, don't worry. I have my own way, but I need to borrow your clothes. Lu Ming said. Ice Dragon Valley Master's eyes flashed and a set of clothes appeared in his hand and he handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming then kept Ice Dragon Valley Master into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming's body began to change and he turned into Ice Dragon Valley Master's appearance. Even his aura was exactly the same. Lu Ming quickly changed into Ice Dragon Valley Master's clothes and walked outside. Ice Dragon Valley Master and the others could move around within a certain range. When Ice Dragon Valley Master walked out, there were eyes looking at him secretly. However, they swept past and ignored him. After Lu Ming walked around, he came to a remote place. When he came here, there was no one watching him. At this time, he happened to meet a middle-aged man walking towards him. At one glance, Lu Ming could tell that this burly middle-aged man had the cultivation of a great sage. Lu Ming walked towards this person quietly. When he approached, Lu Ming struck at lightning speed and knocked this person out. Then he took off this person's clothes and changed into it. Then Lu Ming's figure began to change and turned into this person's appearance. The middle-aged man was thrown into the mountain and river diagram by Lu Ming. Lu Ming swaggered out of the He family's gate. Along the way, no one stopped him. Soon Lu Ming got out of the He family smoothly. As soon as he got out of the He family, Lu Ming's face changed slightly. He saw a few figures rushing into the He family at a terrifying speed in the distance. One of them was He Gao. There are really experts from the Hung family. Chapter 1927. Let's go. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He unleashed his speed to the extreme and rushed toward the sacred courtyard of Yuan Shan. He wanted to return to Yuan Shan Holy Courtyard as soon as possible. On the other side, He Gao and the two true emperors from the Hung clan arrived outside of Xiang Xiang's residence. Lu Ming, I'll leave him to you. I can't go in and you can't touch the girl inside. As for the others, you can do whatever you want. He Gao warned. The two true emperors nodded and stepped forward. They arrived above Xiang Xiang's residence and scanned the area with their spiritual intents. With a single glance, the faces of the two men darkened, and a hint of anger flashed in their eyes. The two of them moved and arrived in front of He Gao. Their eyes were burning with rage. He Gao, you dare to play with us? The white-haired true emperor said coldly. Play with you? Why do you say that? He Gao's expression darkened. He didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling about this. There's no one in the residence, you're not playing with us? The other true emperor from the Hung clan had an even uglier expression. How can there be no one here? He Gao's expression changed. Having said that, he rushed into the residence like a gust of wind and scanned the area with his spiritual intents. There was no one. There was not a single person in the courtyard. Damn it, where are they? He Gao roared furiously. His spiritual senses were like a violent storm, spreading toward the other mansions of the He family. However, he did not discover Lu Ming and the rest at all. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two figures flew out and landed in front of He Gao. They were the experts sent by He Gao to spy on Xiang Xiang's group. Where are they? Where are they? He Gao roared furiously. His face was twisted together because of anger. Aren't they in the residence? We didn't see them come out, could it be a grotto treasure? The two realized something and their expression changed. Idiots! He Gao angrily rebuked. A cold, murderous intent flashed across his eyes as he muttered, The art of disguise. Lu Ming is proficient in the art of disguise. I didn't expect this brat to be so meticulous. I was careless. Although he knew that Lu Ming was proficient in the art of disguise, he originally thought that Lu Ming would at least stay in the He clan for a day. He had already rushed over to find the Hung clan. As long as Lu Ming stayed for a while, it would be difficult for him to escape. Unexpectedly, the moment he left, Lu Ming left the He residence with Xiang and the others. He knew that he had miscalculated. He Gao, what tricks are you playing? If you want to trick us, hand over the tribulation transcending divine robe. Two Hung true emperors appeared on either side of He Gao with a dark expression. Their powerful auras surrounded He Gao. Gentlemen, this is the He clan. He Gao said coldly. The two true emperors from the Hung clan were shocked. Yes, this was the He clan. If they did anything to He Gao, they would be surrounded by the experts from the clan. He Gao, our tribulation transcending divine robe isn't that easy to trick. If you don't return it, wait for our revenge unless you hide in the He clan forever. The white-haired true emperor from the Hung clan said coldly. His aura grew stronger. What's the rush? I can find that little bastard Lu Ming no matter where he hides. There was a cold smile on He Gao's face. Then he began to form a magical seal with both hands. This was the seal to control the soul-devouring worm. No matter how far away he was, as long as he formed the seal, he would be able to control the soul-devouring worm and sense Lu Ming's location through the soul-devouring worm. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and flew toward the sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain like a bolt of lightning. The He clan was not very far from the Yuanshan Holy Courtyard. He was quickly approaching the Yuanshan Holy Courtyard. Suddenly, Lu Ming's expression changed. He felt that something was happening in the mountain and river diagram. With a thought, Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram. A part of his mind controlled the mountain and river diagram to continue flying toward the sacred academy of Yuan Mountain. As soon as Lu Ming entered, he saw Ice Dragon Valley Master holding his head with both hands and roaring like a beast. His face was full of pain. Next, Ice Dragon Valley Master's head slammed into a mountain, causing the mountain to shake and debris to fly everywhere. Grandpa Valley Master, what's wrong? Xiang Bela stood at the side. She was at a loss and her eyes were filled with tears. Poisoned? Valley Master must have been poisoned. Damn it, that He Gao is vicious. Tian Shui roared. Just now, Ice Dragon Valley Master had explained the situation to them. They now understood the cause and effect. He Gao wanted Xiang to cultivate the Four Seasons technique so that he could use Xiang's primordial yin to improve himself. How vicious. After the two of them heard this, they felt a lingering fear. Valley Master, what poison have you been poisoned with? Lu Ming came to Ice Dragon Valley Master's side and asked. It's the soul-devouring worm. He Gao has returned to the He family and knows that we have escaped. Oh no, he can use the soul-devouring worm to determine our location. Lu Ming, kill me. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. Damn it. How could this be? Tian Shui, Xiang, and Lu Ming looked terrible. Kill me quickly, otherwise He Gao will catch up with us soon. The Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. His originally gentle face was now twisted together due to the pain. His head once again smashed heavily onto the mountain peak, creating a huge crater. Ice Dragon Valley Master's face was covered in blood and his white hair was disheveled. Even with his status as a Valley Master and his cultivation of the Absolute Saint Realm, he could not bear it. Lu Ming and the other two's hearts trembled. He Gao, I will kill you. Lu Ming roared in his heart. His eyes were filled with endless murderous intent. Do it quickly. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. Valley Master. Grandpa Valley Master, we can't do it. Xiang shook her head. How could they kill Ice Dragon Valley Master? Valley Master, we will reach Yuanshan Saint Courtyard soon. After we reach Yuanshan Saint Courtyard, I will find a way to ask the Great Emperor to help you get the soul-devouring worm. Lu Ming shouted. It's too late, He Gao will catch up soon. By then, none of us will be able to escape. I am old and my cultivation has reached its limit. There is no hope for me to break through in the future. But you can't die, you have a bright future. Dragon God Valley depends on you in the future. Do it quickly. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. No. Lu Ming and the other two shook their heads resolutely. If you don't do it, I will do it myself. The Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley roared. The saint power in his body surged wildly and rushed toward his mind. Not good. Lu Ming, Tian Shui and Xiang's faces changed. But it was too late to stop it. Boom. There was an explosion in Ice Dragon Valley Master's mind. Then Ice Dragon Valley Master stood there in a daze. Valley Master. Grandpa Valley Master. Lu Ming and the other two were shocked and rushed to Ice Dragon Valley Master's side. But at this time Ice Dragon Valley Master was no longer breathing. Chapter 1928. Ice Dragon Valley Master destroyed his own soul. Once the soul was destroyed, the martial artist would naturally die. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. His body was filled with incomparably cold killing intent, causing the temperature in the entire mountain river diagram to plummet rapidly. He Gao, he clan, I Lu Ming will definitely avenge this. Lu Ming roared in his heart, his eyes were bloodshot. Although Ice Dragon Valley Master did not spend much time with Lu Ming, he was a gentle person. He had always been on Lu Ming's side together with Cloud Dragon Valley Master, helping him a lot. This was a humble and kind elder, wholeheartedly thinking for the younger generation and also for Dragon God Valley. He chose to die in order to preserve hope for Dragon God Valley. He could die, but Lu Ming and the rest could not. On the side, Tianque also clenched his fists, his killing intent was incomparably strong. Valley Master Grandpa. Xiang hugged Ice Dragon Valley Master tightly and cried. In these few years, Ice Dragon Valley Master had been leading them to escape, they had experienced too much and had long established a deep relationship. Now, she also understood that Ice Dragon Valley Master had long been implanted with soul-devouring worms by He Gao, but he had never told her, secretly suffered a lot for her. But she did not know about those sufferings at all. This time, Ice Dragon Valley Master chose to commit suicide, not because he could not bear the pain but because of them. Thinking of this, Xiang was even more pained. This hatred must be avenged. Lu Ming clenched his fists, then with a thought, he came out of the mountain river diagram, erupted with all his strength, and rushed towards the Origin Mountain Academy. He understood that now was not the time to be sad. Ice Dragon Valley Master killed himself because of them, they could not let down Ice Dragon Valley Master's painstaking efforts. Lu Ming flew rapidly, getting closer and closer to the Origin Mountain Academy. In the He clan, He Gao's face suddenly changed. Damn old dog actually killed himself, but you can't escape from this old man's palm. He Gao shouted angrily and said to the two Hung clan true emperors, Lu Ming is rushing to the Origin Mountain Academy, chase. Swish, swish, swish. The three true emperors without a trace chased after Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew at full speed. He did not enter the Origin Mountain Academy, but he did not enter the Origin Mountain Academy, instead he flew from the side. Hung clan's martial emperor was guarding the entrance of Yuan Mountain Saint Court. If Hung clan's martial emperor got the news and stopped him, he wouldn't be able to enter Yuan Mountain Saint Court. In front, the Origin Mountain Academy. The sacred power in Lu Ming's body was fully activated as he rushed toward the sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain. At this moment, the void behind Lu Ming crumbled and a few figures stepped out of it. They were He Gao and the two true emperors from the Hung clan. He Gao swept his gaze and saw Lu Ming flying at full speed. God, get over here. He Valley Master. He Gao roared. He stretched out his big hand and a big hand was formed, grabbing toward Lu Ming. Explode, explode, explode. Lu Ming roared. The Origin Mountain Academy's Origin Mountain Academy exploded like gunpowder, erupting with shocking power, causing Lu Ming's speed to skyrocket. This method could not last long, it could only last for a short period of time, and it was very harmful to the body. But now Lu Ming did not care so much. Lu Ming's speed skyrocketed. He dashed past the area covered by He Gao's big hand and rushed into the sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain. Not good, he rushed into the Origin Mountain Academy. What should we do? The two true emperors of the Hung clan had an ugly expression. Lu Ming rushed into the Origin Mountain Academy, he would be protected by the academy. No matter where he goes, I will take him down. He Gao's face was ferocious, filled with cold murderous intent. Lu Ming dared to take away Xiang, he deserved to die. Xiang was related to whether or not he could survive the next great tribulation. This was more important than anything else. If Lu Ming dared to stop him, he wished he could cut Lu Ming into 1,000 pieces. And that old dog Ice Dragon, he actually killed himself. That was too easy for him. Whoosh. He Gao directly rushed into Yuan Mountain Holy Courtyard. He stretched out his big hand, once again condensed a big hand and grabbed towards Lu Ming. This giant hand blotted out the sun and covered the sky. This time Lu Ming could not escape at all. But at this time, a divine light burst out from the depths of the Yuanshan sacred courtyard. The divine light was like a sword. With a slash, the giant hand condensed by He Gao instantly shattered. The terrifying divine light continued to slash towards He Gao. Boom. He Gao tried his best, but it was still useless. He was directly blasted out of Yuan Mountain Holy Courtyard. His face was as pale as paper, and he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. His aura was extremely weak. A hole had appeared in his chest. The terrifying destructive power was constantly corroding his flesh and blood. Great Emperor, He Gao whispered, showing a deep fear. A dignified true emperor dares to attack my Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard's disciple. Do you think my words are just farts? A vicissitude voice came out from the Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard. When the last word fell, a sound wave rushed towards He Gao and the two true emperors of Hung Clan. The three of their faces changed drastically. They frantically retreated, but their bodies still shook violently. They were seriously injured. Especially He Gao, his injuries were even more serious. Next time kill. The great emperor's voice sounded again, and then it went silent. Damn it. He Gao roared in his heart. He looked at Lu Ming in the Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard, full of unwillingness. Lu Ming took away Xiang just like that. His plan was ruined. Moreover, he was seriously injured by the great emperor's attack just now. His vitality was damaged. He was afraid that when facing the next great tribulation, his chances of surviving was even lower. He roared in his heart, extremely unwilling. He wanted nothing more than to tear Lu Ming to pieces, but he didn't dare to step into the Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard. The great emperor had given the order. If he stepped in again, the great emperor would definitely kill him. Old dog He Gao, if you don't die, I will personally cut off your dog head in the future. Lu Ming stared at He Gao from afar and said coldly, You better stay in the Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard for the rest of your life and never come out. He Gao said coldly, Old dog, just you wait. This is not over. Lu Ming said coldly. Then his figure flickered and left. Little bastard, consider yourself lucky. He Gao snorted and planned to return to the He clan. However, the two true emperors of Hung clan flashed and blocked He Gao's path. What is the meaning of this? He Gao asked with a cold face. What is the meaning of this? We didn't catch Lu Ming. It's time to return the tribulation divine robe to us. The white-haired true emperor of Hung clan said coldly. Return it to you? It's ridiculous. I've already provided you with Lu Ming's information. You've also seen Lu Ming. The tribulation transcendence divine robe is mine. As for whether you've captured Lu Ming, that's none of my business. He Gao's eyes shifted as he said slyly. Now that he had lost Xiang and was injured by a great emperor, his chances of surviving the next great tribulation were even lower. Now the tribulation divine robe was his only hope. How could he hand it over to the Hung clan? If he handed over the tribulation crossing divine robe, he would definitely not be able to survive the next tribulation. He would die in the tribulation. Chapter 1929. He Gao, you're trying to cheat us out of the Hung clan's tribulation divine robe. Be careful. A Hung true emperor shouted. His powerful aura locked onto Lu Ming. You're not qualified to take our tribulation divine robe without taking down Lu Ming. Hand it over. The white-haired true emperor from the Hung clan unleashed his worldly light. If He Gao didn't hand over the robe, he would attack at any time. The tribulation transcending divine robe was extremely precious and could only be found by chance. Moreover, it was a one-time use item. After one tribulation, it would be useless the next time. Taking down Lu Ming and obtaining the Heavenly Emperor's sword would have been worth it. But now, Lu Ming and the Heavenly Emperor's sword weren't available. How could they be willing to give up the robe for free? He Gao's expression was ugly. He didn't want to give up the treasure that he had obtained. Fine, I'll give it back to you. But I did provide information, so you should compensate me. He Gao coldly said. Compensation? What do you want? The white-haired true emperor asked. A true emperor weapon. He Gao said. A true emperor weapon? The two true emperors from the Hung clan glanced at each other and nodded. Very well, we agree. The white-haired true emperor nodded. A true emperor weapon was precious, but it was far inferior to the tribulation divine robe. Very well, I'll give you the robe. He Gao put on a pained expression and threw a storage ring to the white-haired true emperor. The white-haired true emperor from Heng waved his hand and grabbed the ring. Explode. He Gao's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Boom. The storage ring exploded and the destructive force blew the white-haired true emperor away. A gap appeared in the encirclement of the two true emperors. Run! He Gao seized the opportunity and flew out like a bolt of lightning, fleeing in the direction of the He family. Damn you He Gao, you're courting death. The white-haired true emperor of the Hung clan roared. What can you do to me if I hide in the He clan? He Gao sneered, his voice coming from afar. Now, it was more important for him to transcend the tribulation. He was less than 100 years away from transcending the tribulation. At most, he would hide in the He clan for the next 100 years. 100 years was just a blink of an eye to him. The He clan was as famous as the Hung clan. As long as he hid in the He clan and did not come out, how could the Hung clan do anything to him? His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he flew towards the He family. He Gao, how dare you steal my Hung family's treasure? Your He family will pay the price. The other emperor roared and chased after He Gao, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. In the sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain, with a flash, Lu Ming's figure appeared. Lu Ming had seen everything that had happened to the three true emperors. It seems like He Gao was the one who tipped off the Hung clan, using my information in exchange for the Hung clan's supreme treasure. Now they've fallen out. Very well, He clan Hung clan, just you wait. It won't be long before I make you pay. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. He took a step forward and disappeared. In the sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain, a new tomb appeared on top of a mountain filled with rich origin energy. Lu Ming, Xiang, Tian Chue, and Xuening Xin kowtowed before the tomb of the valley's master. Behind them, the other members of the Dragon League also bowed. After a long time, Lu Ming stood up and poured a jug of wine in front of the tomb. Next, Lu Ming's thoughts moved and a figure appeared out of thin air in front of the tomb. This was the person Lu Ming brought out from the He clan, also someone from He Gao's mansion. Valley Lord, today I will use the blood of this person from the He clan to pay tribute to you. In the future, I will personally take his dog head to pay tribute to you. Having said that, Lu Ming raised his blade and beheaded the person. Valley Lord, very soon, I will make the He clan and Hung clan pay some interest. Afterward he did not stay any longer. He turned and left the place. Too much sadness was useless. Lu Ming would make the He clan regret it with practical actions. At Lu Ming's residence, he took out the Chaos Stone and sized it up carefully. As expected, it has lost the chaotic origin energy. What a pity. Lu Ming probed. He injected his Saint power and the law of chaos into it, but there was no reaction at all. There was no chaotic origin energy in the Chaos Stone. However, the Chaos Stone was still a Chaos Stone. Even if there was no chaotic origin energy, it could still be used as the main material to forge Emperor weapons. Lu Ming bombarded the Chaos Stone with his Saint weapon, but he could not leave a mark on it. Lu Ming refined it. At the critical moment, it might be used as a defensive treasure to block the enemy's attack. Then Lu Ming closed his eyes and adjusted his breath. 3 days later, Lu Ming recovered to his peak. Then he used the Divine Breath technique to change his appearance and left the Origin Mountain Saint Court. Outside the Origin Mountain Saint Court, there were still experts from the Hung clan guarding. When they saw Lu Ming come out, their spiritual consciousness constantly scanned Lu Ming's body, but they did not find anything unusual. Lu Ming swaggered away. Lu Ming came out for no other reason than to take revenge. He did not have the strength to fight against the He clan and the Hung clan, but he could collect some interest first. Lu Ming's first stop was Vientiane Tower. First, Lu Ming bought all the information about the Hung clan and the He clan in Vientiane Tower. He even bought the information of some of the important figures of the two clans. Of course, this cost him a lot of money. After Lu Ming took the information of the important figures of the two clans, he began to study it carefully. 3 days later, Lu Ming came to Vientiane Tower again. Vientiane Tower inquired about some information about the Hung clan and the He clan. Drunken Immortal Tower, one of the 3 towers in Celestial City. It was extremely famous in Celestial City, because the beauties of Drunken Immortal Tower were the most famous in Celestial City. Of course, there was also good wine that could make an immortal drunk. Therefore, this place had also become the gathering place of the young geniuses of many forces in Celestial City. Not only the young geniuses, even the older generation would come. He Yutong was one of the top geniuses of the He clan's younger generation. At a young age, he was placed in an important position by the He clan. Although he did not have the monarch body, he was only second to the monarch body. Now, his cultivation had reached the great sage perfection realm. However, during this period of time he was very depressed. He was also cultivating in the Origin Mountain Saint Court, but the geniuses of the He clan did not have many achievements. They were suppressed in the Origin Mountain Saint Court. 4 sets of array discs, their He clan did not get a set. In the end they could only choose to join the Divine Fire Alliance. Therefore he was very unhappy. When he was not cultivating he would run out of the Origin Mountain Saint Court, or return to the He clan, or go to the Drunken Immortal Tower to relax. In the Drunken Immortal Tower there was a mirror-like lake. On the lake there were sailboats floating. On the shore of the lake there were pavilions standing tall. Yutong was lying in a pavilion. There were 2 beautiful girls. One was rubbing his shoulders and the other was lying in his arms. He closed his eyes and enjoyed the warm and fragrant jade. Yutong, get out here. Chapter 1930. A loud roar broke the silence in Yutong's mood. Which bastard dares to disturb me? You're courting death. Yutong stood up and took a step out of the pavilion. His eyes were cold as he stared ahead. A middle-aged man stood on the lake with his hands behind his back. Who are you? Yutong looked at the middle-aged man and narrowed his eyes. He did not know this man. I'm the one who wants your life. The middle-aged man said coldly. After that, his body swayed and rushed towards Yutong. Saint power surged in his palm and condensed into a long sword. The long sword was like a rainbow, stabbing towards Yutong as fast as lightning. Yutong was shocked. He unleashed all his strength and a battle saber appeared in his hand. He slashed at the middle-aged man. Clang. The long sword and the battle saber collided and there was a buzzing sound. Yutong's body shook violently. He kept retreating and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Eternal Spring Law. You're from the Hung family. Why do you want to kill me? Yutong shouted. At this time the people on the sailboats and in the other pavilions were already alarmed. They looked in their direction and were all shocked. The Eternal Spring Law was a law unique to the Hung family. Only the unique bloodline of the Hung family could comprehend the Eternal Spring Law. The Hung family wanted to kill Yutong? Although the Hung family and the He family were sworn enemies and had a fierce battle 1,000 years ago, their relationship had eased a lot in the past few hundred years. Although there were still occasional conflicts, there were very few people who would kill each other in public for no reason. Now, why did the middle-aged man want to kill Yutong? Gao, you shameless dog. You took the treasure of the Hung family and did not return it. Then I'll make the He family pay the price. The middle-aged man said coldly. The aura on his body burst out crazily. A terrifying sword light cut through the void and slashed towards Yutong. No, Yutong roared madly. He wanted to escape, but his battle prowess was far inferior to his opponent's. With a slash of the sword, all of his resistance collapsed. Yutong was cut in half and his corpse fell into the lake. Gao, you asked for it. The middle-aged man left these words and soared into the sky, leaving this place. This middle-aged man was naturally Lu Ming in disguise. Previously, when he was at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, he saw Gao having a conflict with the 2 true emperors of the Hung family. From the other party's words, Lu Ming speculated that Gao must have used him as a condition to obtain the Hung family's precious treasure. Later on, when the Hung family wanted to take it back, Gao refused to return it. Back then, the 2 true emperors of the Hung clan wanted the He clan to pay the price. Now, Lu Ming took advantage of this and attacked the He clan to provoke a conflict between the 2 clans. As for Lu Ming's primal chaos laws, apart from the Monarch Dao laws and the 10 supreme laws, all other laws could be transformed. The Eternal Spring Law was not a King Dao law, so Lu Ming could naturally change it. The Hung family's expert had killed the He family's prodigy Yutong. The reason was that Gao of the He family had taken the Hung family's treasure. After Lu Ming left, the news spread at a terrifying speed from the Drunken Immortal Pagoda. Not long after, a few elders sat in a great hall of the He clan. The atmosphere was very solemn. Bang! Gao slammed the table with fury in his eyes. Preposterous, does the Hung clan want to start a war with us? They had received the news of Yutong's death and were currently discussing it. It's all because of you. You stole the Hung clan's tribulation divine robe and caused this disaster. Yutong died because of you. Another old man said coldly. What do you mean? Gao glared coldly at the old man. The old man was on the same level as Gao, so he naturally wasn't afraid of him. He sneered, it's clear what I mean. If you didn't take the Hung clan's treasure, they wouldn't have sent people to kill us. No matter what, you have to pay the price and hand over the tribulation divine robe to the clan. Within the He clan, it was naturally not a monolithic entity. It was divided into various factions. Nonsense, I deserve the tribulation divine robe. If you want it, then fight me. Let's see what you're capable of. Yigao roared. A powerful aura filled the hall. Alright, stop arguing. The most important thing now is how to deal with the Hung clan's revenge. Another old man waved his hand and said, At most we'll fight with the Hung clan. Yigao said coldly. It was impossible for him to hand over the Tribulation Divine Robe. The Tribulation Divine Robe was related to whether he could survive the heavenly tribulation, and it was more important than anything else. At this moment they received a message at the same time. They took out their voice transmission jade talismans and their faces changed again. Damn it, the Hung clan is too much. Are they going to start a war? A few old men roared in anger. They had just received news that 2 more experts from the He clan were killed by the Hung clan. This was intolerable. The Hung clan was obviously going to take revenge. If they delayed, many people would be killed. Let's go to the Hung clan. I'd like to see if the Hung clan wants to start a war. An old man sitting at the head of the table said coldly. Then he walked out with big strides. The other old men, including Yigao, followed him out of the hall and went straight to the Hung clan. In a hall in the Hung clan, a few old men were discussing something. Who sent people to kill the He clan? Someone asked. We didn't do that. Yigao might be despicable and shameless for taking the Tribulation Divine Robe, but we're still thinking of a way. We didn't send anyone to kill the He clan. The white-haired true emperor who gave the robe to Yigao frowned. The others exchanged glances as well. They didn't send anyone, so who was it that killed the He clan's people? Could it be a member of the Hung clan? The He clan is despicable and shameless. In my opinion, we should just kill them. Another true emperor said coldly. 1,000 years ago, the He clan and the Hung clan had a bitter war. These true emperors had fought against the He clan before and had a great grudge. So what if they killed a few members of the He clan? Boom. Boom. At this time, a terrifying fluctuation came from outside the Hung clan. Powerful auras filled the air. Looks like the He clan is here. Yigao took our Tribulation Divine Robe and they still dare to come? Tell them to hand it over. The few old men snorted coldly and rushed out of the hall one after another, heading outside. Outside the Hung clan, Yigao and the rest of the He clan's experts stood in the air. Their terrifying auras pressed down on the halls of the Hung clan. Whoosh, whoosh. Figures flashed and experts appeared in the Hung clan. Finally, a few old men from the Hung clan arrived in the air. Each of them emitted a vast aura that neutralized the aura of the He clan. Yigao, you still dare to come? Hand over the Tribulation Divine Robe. Chapter 1931. Your Hung clan wants my Tribulation Divine Robe? Dream on. You sent people to kill my He clan. How do you explain that? Yigao shouted. We didn't send anyone to kill your people. An expert from the Hung clan said. Bullshit. You used the Eternal Spring Law to kill our people. Do you think we're blind? An expert from the He clan shouted. Ridiculous. Yigao took our robe and we didn't even come knocking on your door. Your He clan only lost a few useless pieces of trash and you're here to start a war? An expert from the Hung clan said coldly. The He clan and the Hung clan were mortal enemies. Although things had eased a bit in recent years, these martial emperors had lived for a long time and had fought each other countless times. Their grudge wasn't so easily resolved. Every time they met, it would be on the verge of breaking out into a fight. Good, very good. You killed our people. Do you think we're easy to bully? Unless your Hung clan doesn't come out in the future, ha. Yigao sneered, implying that if the Hung clan could kill the He clan, they could do the same to the Hung clan. Yigao, I'll kill you first. The white-haired true emperor from the Hung clan wanted to kill Yigao right now to take back one of their divine garments. At this time, a figure flew over and landed next to the expert from the Hung clan. Sir True Emperor, not good. The He clan is secretly killing our experts. 2 great saints and 1 absolute saint have been killed. The person reported. What? Damn it. The true emperor from the Hung clan was furious after hearing this. The He clan was here to punish them on the surface but secretly sent people to kill them. How despicable. Nonsense, we didn't send anyone to kill your people. An old man from the He clan frowned. They clearly used the 4 Seasons law. How dare you say they're not from the He clan? The person who came to report the news shouted. The He family's inheritance was the law of the 4 Seasons, which was similar to the Hung family's law of eternal spring. In the distant past, the He family had even claimed to be the descendants of the Celestial Emperor, which was why they were mortal enemies with the Hung family. Damn it. You took my Hung clan's Tribulation Divine Robe and now sent people to kill my Hung clan's people. Do you think my Heng clan is easy to bully? Today all of you will stay here. A furious Heng True Emperor channeled his world force and unleashed a terrifying sword ray towards a He True Emperor. If you want to start a war, don't think that the He clan is afraid of you. The True Emperor from the He clan furiously retaliated. Attack. The other experts of the Hung clan also attacked. Terrifying sword lights burst forth, shooting towards the experts of the He clan. However, the experts from the He clan were all at the True Emperor level. They started fighting back as well. This area was directly blasted apart. The terrifying shockwave wreaked havoc. The entire celestial city seemed to be trembling. A chaotic battle between true emperors was too frightening. Many were alarmed and flew up to watch. Oh God, those are the experts from the He and Hung clans. Are the two clans going to fight again after 1,000 years? In the distance, many people were trembling with fear. In the distant sky, Lu Ming turned into a dark-skinned youth and watched the battle from a distance. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The truth was that his plan wasn't that great. He used the law of primal chaos to turn into members of the He clan and Hung clan to hunt down and incite conflict between the two clans. As long as the two clans calmed down and discussed this plan, it wouldn't be hard to see through it. They might even suspect Lu Ming. However, the enmity between the two clans was like gunpowder that could be ignited at the slightest spark. Moreover, the matter with He Gao made it impossible for the two clans to sit down and talk nicely. Sure enough, they attacked right away. Boom. Boom. Terrifying sword light and saber light filled the entire sky. Space constantly cracked open, revealing a terrifying pitch-black space. However, this was the Hung clan. As soon as they started fighting, powerful auras burst out from the Hung family. Terrifying experts woke up from their seclusion and joined the battle. The true emperors from the He clan were at a disadvantage. Charge back to the He clan. A true emperor from the He clan shouted. There were 5 emperors from the He clan. They worked together to attack Wuxia. However, the Hung clan had more and more true emperors. They were at a disadvantage and couldn't make it out. Attack the others from the Hung clan. He Gao's eyes flashed fiercely as he unleashed a saber attack. It wasn't aimed at the other true emperors but the palaces of the Hung clan. Despicable bastard. A true emperor from the Hung clan roared. 2 true emperors rushed out to help but it was too late. He Gao's saber light was hundreds of miles long. Countless members of the Hung family were annihilated by this saber light. 100-mile-long crack appeared in the Hung family's palaces and continued forward. He Gao, you court death. The furious true emperors from the Hung clan tried to kill He Gao. However, He Gao's expression was ferocious as he unleashed a few more attacks. The true emperors had no choice but to stop his attacks. Normally, true emperors wouldn't attack the weak. However, He Gao wasn't confident this time because of the impending calamity. That's why he acted so recklessly and didn't care about the rules. Since the Hung clan's true emperors went to help the others, there was a gap in the encirclement. He Gao and the other true emperors rushed out and rushed towards the He clan. You will pay with your blood, He clan. The true emperor from the Hung clan roared. In the distance, Lu Ming sneered. His figure flashed as he headed toward the sacred academy of Yuan Mountain. He didn't need to do anything now since he only needed to watch. A war was inevitable between the two clans. Not long after Lu Ming returned to the sacred academy of Yuan Mountain, in the Heavenly Supreme Alliance, Xinghe held a combat sword and charged toward the Divine Fire Alliance. In the Divine Fire Alliance, he killed the #1 prodigy of the He family, who had a powerful king body. This matter shook the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. The genius from the He clan was in the top 10 of the Sage King ranking. He was the #2 character of the Divine Fire Alliance but he was killed just like that. No one in the Divine Fire Alliance dared to stop Xinghe. The He clan was in an uproar after hearing the news. The #1 genius of the He clan with a powerful monarch physique and peerless talents. He was the hope of the clan and had a chance to become a grand emperor. But now he was killed by Xinghe. War. An angry voice came from the He clan. War. The same went for the Hung clan. Chapter 1932. The He family and Hung family each dispatched several thousand powerhouses. A terrifying great battle broke out in the area between the two families. This battle shook Celestial City. This battle was incomparably tragic. The sun and moon lost their light. That area of Celestial City was razed to the ground. That battle fought for a full day. In the end, both sides suffered heavy losses before retreating separately. It was said that many experts from both sides died in this battle. Even martial emperor powerhouses fell more than 10. There were even true emperors who fell. In Celestial City for a moment the atmosphere was extremely stifling. Because everyone knew that the great battle between the two families would not end like this. On the contrary, it was just the beginning. Sure enough, after this battle, the two families started an all-out war. Both sides sent people to attack each other's industries. Both sides were constantly clashing. At every moment there were powerhouses being killed. The hatred between both sides already reached an irreconcilable level. The battle escalated more and more. Even true emperors would frequently kill each other. Every day there were powerhouses falling. This scorching battle fought for a full 3 months. Hung family and He family lost countless powerhouses. However, this did not make both sides stop. Instead, the hatred became even more intense. On this day, a piece of news shook the entire Celestial City, and even the entire Origin Mountain Sacred Institution. The Hung family's great emperor powerhouses challenged the He family's great emperor powerhouses. Half a month later, they would decide the victor at Heavenly Emperor Mountain. A showdown between great emperors shocked the world. Countless people were dumbfounded and extremely shocked. They did not expect that the confrontation between the two families this time would ultimately lead to a showdown between great emperors. Celestial City was the #1 holy land of the Origin Mountain Land's 9 great holy lands. Its strength was the most powerful. And as one of the few strongest forces in Celestial City, the Hung family and He family both had great emperors holding down the fort. And half a month later, the two families' great emperors would face off at Heavenly Emperor Mountain. When Lu Ming heard this news, he was also somewhat astonished. He also did not expect that things would also develop to this extent. However, this was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. Wasn't his original intention to let the He family and Hung family fight each other? Use the blood of the Hung family and He family's people as a sacrifice to the Ice Dragon Valley Master. It was best if a great emperor fell. That way it would be even more perfect. Lu Ming sneered. A showdown between heavenly emperors was something rarely seen. This matter had alarmed the majority of the major forces in the Primal Mountain. In this half a month, there was an endless stream of experts coming to the Celestial City. They wanted to witness the glory of the heavenly emperors. Time flew and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, countless people gathered towards the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Normally speaking, when great emperors fought, no one would dare to get close to watch the battle. A martial emperor was too strong. As long as a strand of energy leaked out, it would be disastrous. Only death awaited. Even regular martial emperors would find it hard to survive. However, it was different at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Legend had it that the Heavenly Emperor Mountain was the place where the Heavenly Emperor had attained the Tao. Above it, the Heavenly Emperor's steam engine filled the air. Ordinary people could not climb up the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Even martial emperors would find their cultivation suppressed. Rumor has it that true emperors couldn't fly once they entered the range of the mountain. Only great emperor elite warriors could fly when they entered the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. However, they would be greatly suppressed. The movements from the great battle would also be suppressed and would not cause disastrous consequences. Early in the morning, the sky around the Heavenly Emperor Mountain was filled with countless figures. There were endless people with different levels of cultivation. There were martial emperors, saints, martial emperors, and even true emperors. A battle between great emperors was a rare event. It might be helpful for true emperors. The prodigies of the Origin Mountain Sacred Institution were also led by a few true emperor teachers to the distant void of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Lu Ming and the others were also among them. At this moment, the void not far from the Heavenly Emperor Mountain suddenly split open. 2 openings appeared and 2 figures stepped out from each of them. The 2 figures were completely shrouded in endless light. Their appearance could not be seen clearly, but there was a strong and boundless aura that spread out in all directions. Although they were very far away at this moment, countless people felt as if a divine mountain was pressing down on them. This kind of pressure was as if they were facing the heavenly Tao. They could not resist. 2 great emperors. The great emperors of the He clan and Hung clan had arrived. The 2 great emperors looked at each other from afar and unleashed an even more shocking aura. "This time I'll kill you." A cold voice was heard. It was full of arrogance, like a deity looking down on all living beings. Lu Ming had heard this voice before. It was the great emperor of the Hung clan. He had heard it at the Origin Mountain Sacred Institution and fought with great Emperor Wuxia, boasting shamelessly, "You'll be the one to die." The other figure was the great emperor of the He clan. His voice was deep and filled with endless dominance. Whoosh, whoosh. Then, the two figures moved at the same time and flew towards the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. In the beginning, their speed was so shocking that many people could not see them clearly. However, as soon as the two entered the range of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, they seemed to be under a terrifying pressure. Their speed rapidly slowed down. The closer they were to the peak, the slower their speed became. In the end, the light on the two figures disappeared and their bodies were revealed in front of everyone. The great emperor of the Hung clan was an old man with a gloomy look in his eyes. The great emperor of the He clan appeared to be a middle-aged brawny man. He had a tall and sturdy figure and a domineering aura. Of course, one could not judge the age of people at this level by their appearance. The two great emperors of the Hung clan and the He clan were figures that had lived for countless years. The two landed on the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain and faced each other. Then the two suddenly dashed towards each other and launched a palm attack at the same time. Dong. With a muffled boom, the entire Heavenly Emperor Mountain seemed to shake. Even though Lu Ming and the others were far away, they could feel the violent fluctuations in the space. So terrifying, is this the power of an elite warrior at the Great Emperor stage? This is the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, yet it could cause such astonishing tremors. Ordinary elite warriors at the Void Emperor stage could only barely resist at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. They could not even fight. Indeed, the power of the Great Emperor stage is extraordinary. Some people discussed. After the great emperors of the Han and He clan exchanged a move, their bodies retreated slightly. Then they launched another attack at each other. Once again the two bombarded each other and exploded with astonishing fluctuations. If this happened on the outside, most likely the world would be turned upside down. Next, the two kept exchanging moves. However, they were all ordinary, as if two low-level martial artists were exchanging moves. Their speed was not particularly fast. This made many people look at each other in dismay. Were the fights between great emperors this ordinary? Lu Ming, Qiuyu, and the rest were also bewildered. They could not tell what was so brilliant about it. Chapter 1933. Don't underestimate this kind of battle. It's the most dangerous. Each move is a collision between the great Tao and the power of the world. It's extremely terrifying. If you're not careful, you'll die. A teacher of the Origin Mountain Holy Court explained to the disciples of the Origin Mountain Holy Court. Great Emperor elite warriors control the great Tao of heaven and earth. Each of their moves is supported by the great Tao and the power of the world. This is inside the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. If it's outside, a casual attack can turn the world upside down and have the power to destroy the world. That teacher continued to explain. Everyone observed carefully. Unfortunately, their realm was too low and they had not stepped into the Great Emperor realm. It was difficult for them to understand the profoundness of the Great Emperor realm. They could only watch the show. Boom, boom. In the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, the speed of the two's battle became faster and faster. Their expressions also became more solemn. Each time they clashed, terrifying tremors would erupt. The Heavenly Emperor Mountain trembled slightly and the space trembled violently. On top of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, a layer of hazy halo spread out. It was extremely mysterious and locked most of the power inside. Soon, the two great emperors had exchanged hundreds of moves and there was no winner. Then the two took out their weapons. Great Emperor Heng used a sword, while Great Emperor He used a battle saber. Without a doubt, they were both extremely terrifying Great Emperor weapons. The two continued to fight. However, the two had the same cultivation and combat power. After many moves, there was still no winner. Just as the two were fighting fiercely, suddenly, a figure appeared on the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Everyone was shocked. Yes, initially, there were only two great emperors fighting at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. How could there be an additional figure? Clearly this figure did not appear out of thin air. He had been hiding at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. As soon as this figure appeared, he launched an attack at Great Emperor He. His attack was extremely violent and was not weaker than the two great emperors. Clearly this was also a great emperor. Everyone was shocked. How could a great emperor suddenly appear at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain? Luo, it's you. You're so despicable. Great Emperor He roared angrily. Luo? Many people were shocked. There was only one great emperor with the surname Luo in the Origin Mountain Holy Land. That was the great emperor of the ancient Sun Holy Land and Daluo Heaven sect. Lu Ming's eyes were also shining. The great emperor who suddenly appeared was probably the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect, Luo Zhanqiong's grandfather. Clearly, the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect had been hiding at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain for a long time. He was waiting for an opportunity to join hands with the great emperor of the Hung family to kill the great emperor of the He family. I told you you're the one who's going to die today. The great emperor of the Hung clan said coldly as he slashed his sword towards the great emperor of the He clan. Facing two experts of the same level, great emperor He clan was no match at all. He was instantly at a disadvantage. Not good. Hung clan, you are despicable and shameless. The He family's people roared angrily. Their faces were incomparably ugly, feeling extremely worried. If the He clan's great emperor perished, it would be a disaster for the He clan. Without a great emperor, they wouldn't be able to fight against the Hung family. They would be annihilated by the Hung family. The He family, which had been passed down for countless years, would be annihilated. All is fair in war. Don't you know that? The Hung family's experts sneered. They were overjoyed as they hoped that their great emperor could kill the great emperor of the He clan. In that case, the Hung family would become even more powerful in the future. Everyone looked at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain anxiously. If a great emperor perished, it would involve a lot of people. It would change the structure of the Heavenly Emperor city drastically. The great emperor of the He clan tried his best to resist. However, he was no match for the two great emperors. Soon, the great emperor of the He clan was hit by a punch from the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect. His body shook and his face flushed red. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! The great emperor of the Hung family slashed his sword, but the great emperor of the He clan barely dodged it. The great emperor of the Hung family roared as his sword moved faster. The great emperor of the He clan was injured and it was getting harder for him to dodge. After a few more moves, the great emperor of the He clan finally couldn't dodge it. He was slashed in the chest by the great emperor of the Hung family. A long sword wound appeared and his entire body was almost split into two halves. The great emperor's blood splattered all over the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. The great emperor of the He clan roared angrily. He wanted to retreat, but the Daluo Heaven sect blocked his way. He roared angrily and unwillingly. If they weren't at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, everything about them would be suppressed. If they were outside the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, the two great emperors together might not be able to keep him here. With his strength he could escape without worry. However, it was different here at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. He understood that he had fallen into a trap. Clearly, it was the other party's scheme to fight with the great emperor of the Hung family at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Great Emperor. People of the He clan cried out in grief and fear. Could it be that today the great emperor of the He clan would fall here? People of the Hung family were overjoyed. However, at this moment a sudden change occurred. Suddenly the Heavenly Emperor Mountain shook violently. Endless resplendent lights filled the air. Boom, boom. Next, an astonishing explosion sound emerged from the Heavenly Emperor Mountain as gravel flew everywhere. What's going on? Many people's expression changed drastically. Why was there such a sudden change at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain? Such a thing had never happened before. It's the blood of a great emperor. The great emperor's blood has been absorbed by the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Some true emperor figures roared. With their sharp eyes and keen spiritual senses, they had discovered this despite being far away. Inwardly, everyone was shocked. It was because of the blood of a great emperor. However, why would the blood of a great emperor cause such a change at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain? Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, 3 waves of terrifying presence emerged from the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. It was the presence of 3 great emperors. Previously, the presence of the great emperors had been completely suppressed by the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Now, it seemed that the Heavenly Emperor Mountain had lost its suppressive effect. Get lost. Great Emperor of the He clan gave a long roar as he unleashed his terrifying power. He slashed out with his blade and sliced open the vast sky. A space crack of unknown length appeared in the sky. Great Emperor of the He clan transformed into a wave of blade light and dashed into the space crack. Don't even think about leaving. The Great Emperor of the Hung clan and the Great Emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect chased after Great Emperor of the He clan and dashed into the space crack. Instantly, terrifying fluctuations erupted from the void space inside the space crack. Boom boom boom. The Heavenly Emperor Mountain continued to shake as the radiance became more resplendent. In the end, the radiance condensed into a figure. This figure wore a white robe and looked extremely young. He seemed to be a young man in his 30s. He had a majestic figure and a handsome face. He had the temperament to swallow the world and was unparalleled in his generation. He only stood there as if he was the only one in the world. Heavenly Emperor, could he be the Heavenly Emperor? Many people's voices trembled. Selah. The space crack appeared again as the figure of the great emperor of the Hung clan appeared. His expression was somewhat gloomy as he looked at the heavenly emperor's shadow above the heavenly emperor mountain with surprise. Next, the great emperor of the Daluo heaven sect also appeared beside him. Selah. Chapter 1934. With the appearance of the three great emperors, clearly the great emperor of the Hung clan and the great emperor of the Daluo heaven sect could not do anything to the great emperor of the He clan. Once the suppression of the heavenly emperor mountain was gone, it was indeed difficult for two great emperors of the same level to kill another great emperor in the outside world, unless the difference in strength was too great. Seeing that the great emperor of the He clan was fine, everyone from the He clan breathed a sigh of relief and felt relieved. The three great emperors all looked at the shadow in the sky. The shadow of the heavenly emperor. The great emperor of the Hung clan spoke with a solemn expression, yet full of expectation. At this moment, above Lu Ming and the others, there was a wave of space fluctuations, and a figure appeared out of nowhere. Lu Ming and the others were shocked. This person was Great Emperor Wuxia of the Yuan Mountain Saint Court. Just when the teachers and students of the Yuan Mountain Saint Court were about to salute, Great Emperor Wuxia waved his hand and motioned everyone not to be overly courteous. At this moment, the figure in the sky was becoming more and more solid. Everyone was shocked. Could it be that the heavenly emperor was about to be resurrected? Or was this just a mark left behind by the heavenly emperor when he was in seclusion? Everyone guessed that today's matter was beyond their expectations. Just when the shadow of the heavenly emperor had solidified to the extreme, his figure suddenly flew towards the heavenly emperor mountain and disappeared into it. Boom. In the next moment, with a shocking roar, the entire heavenly emperor mountain exploded. The majestic heavenly emperor mountain exploded directly. Then, from the bottom of the heavenly emperor mountain, a light pillar rushed out and pierced the sky. That's a flower? Someone exclaimed. Below the heavenly emperor mountain, a light pillar rushed to the sky. In the middle of the light pillar, a flower emerged. This flower did not seem to have bloomed yet. It only had the appearance of a flower bud and looked like a lotus. Everyone was surprised. What was going on? This flower is a shadow, not a real entity. Look, there's a cave below, it keeps going down. The strange movement of the heavenly emperor mountain caused a commotion in all directions. Lu Ming fixed his eyes and looked. Indeed, the flower in the sky was not a real entity, but a projection of a shadow. Originally, there was a cave below the heavenly emperor mountain. That light pillar rushed out of this cave. Could it be that cave there was some treasure? The heavenly emperor mountain had always suppressed this treasure? Thinking of this, many people's eyes burned with passion. If it was a treasure, it would definitely be a treasure that even the celestial emperors would value. Even the great emperors could not remain calm. With a flash, the great emperors of the Hung family, Daluo heaven sect, He family, and Wuxia appeared above the cave at the same time. Great Emperor Hung glanced at Great Emperor He coldly but didn't say anything. The heavenly emperor mountain had exploded. Without the suppression of the heavenly emperor mountain, he knew he could not kill the great emperor of the He clan. The four martial emperors looked down at the cave below and were shocked. Everyone's hearts were itching. Even the great emperor revealed a surprised expression. Just what was below the cave? Everyone wanted to go and take a look personally, but with the great emperor there, no one dared to go. If he angered the great emperor, only death awaited him. This is the world left behind by the celestial the Arch. It should belong to my Hung clan. Please leave. The Hung family glanced at Emperor He family and Emperor Wuxia. What a joke. We don't know if it was left behind by the celestial the Arch. Besides, even if it was left behind by the celestial the Arch, what does it have to do with your Hung clan? Don't say you're the descendant of the celestial the Arch, you are. Great Emperor He family sneered. What do you mean? Cold light flashed across the eyes of Great Emperor Heng. It's simple. You Hung clan can't take this place. Great Emperor He family said coldly. Then he looked at Emperor Wuxia and said, Wuxia, what do you think? The celestial the Arch has fallen for many years. After so many years, nothing can be explained. Thus, the treasure left behind by the celestial the Arch should belong to the fated ones. Emperor Wuxia said. His meaning was simple. Since the celestial the Arch had fallen for so many years, who could say for sure whether the Hung clan was the descendant of the celestial the Arch? After such a long time, the treasure left behind by the celestial the Arch should belong to the fated ones. Great Emperor Heng's expression turned ugly. Even with the help of the great emperor of the Daluo heaven sect, He could not do anything to Great Emperor He and Emperor Wuxia. Moreover, the Saint Court of Origin Mountain was built by 3 great emperors. Now that the other great emperors had not appeared, he was very wary. Then let's rely on our abilities, Great Emperor Heng said coldly. Then he suddenly rushed into the cave below. The great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect, Great Emperor He and Emperor Wuxiang also rushed into the cave below at the same time. Their figures disappeared into the cave. The others looked at each other. Since the 4 great emperors had gone down, the others did not dare to follow. They could only wait with their eyes wide open. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, a violent roar came from the underground cave. There seemed to be an endless gale blowing over there. The light beam that rushed out was even brighter. Then 4 figures rushed out from the cave. No, they did not rush out by themselves. They seemed to have been blown out by the gale. Everyone was shocked. What was in the cave that could blow great emperors out? Moreover, there were 4 great emperors. It was too terrifying. The 4 great emperors stood in the sky with gloomy faces. After a while, Great Emperor Heng seemed to be unwilling to give up. He rushed down again, but he was still blasted out after a while. You go down and take a look. Great Emperor Heng pointed at a true emperor of the Heng clan. You come with me. Great Emperor He looked at a true emperor of the He clan. Emperor Wuxiang also called for a true emperor of the Origin Mountain Sacred Institution. The 3 true emperors flew forward and rushed into the cave. However, not long after, they were blasted out by a force just like the 4 great emperors before them. Next, the great emperors called for Void Emperor, who was a minor emperor, but he was also blasted out. Then they called for a few more boundary emperors to go down. However, these boundary emperors were not blasted out this time. Instead, they blocked the force from below. It seemed that the force in the cave would change according to the cultivation of the one who went down. The stronger one's cultivation was, the stronger the power in the cave would be. What's in the cave? Why are the great emperors so concerned about it? Many people were itching to find out. Great emperors, there seems to be a force below that is blocking us. We can't go in. A boundary emperor of the Heng clan reported to the great emperor of the Heng clan. Everyone pricked up their ears to listen. This lotus has 9 petals. Each petal represents a world. The lotus has not bloomed yet, so it's not time to go in. Emperor Wuxiang said. He did not hide anything and his voice spread far and wide. Everyone was shocked. Could there be a small world below the cave? Gather all the experts below the martial emperor level in the Heng clan. Chapter 1935. The great emperor of the Heng clan ordered to gather all the experts below the martial emperor realm and left. After that, great emperor He of the He clan gave the same order. He gathered all the experts below the martial emperor realm in the He clan and left. Then, great emperor Wuxiang and the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect also left. Let's go and have a look. After the great emperor left, the others could no longer suppress their curiosity and rushed to the top of the cave. For a moment, the sky was filled with countless figures. Lu Ming and the others also followed the crowd and flew to the sky to look down. That is, Lu Ming and the others were shocked when they saw it. There was a very big cave on the ground. No one knew how deep it was. In the cave there was a bright light spreading out. In the deepest part of the cave there was a lotus. This lotus was still in the bud state and had not bloomed. Looking at it carefully, there were 9 petals. It was obvious that the lotus in the air was a projection of this lotus. Everyone could not help but think of the words of great Emperor Wuxiang. The lotus had 9 petals, which represented 9 worlds. Now that the lotus had not bloomed, they could not enter for the time being. The 9 petals of the lotus represented 9 worlds? Was this the world left behind by the heavenly emperor? Everyone's imagination ran wild. Then, they remembered that only those below the martial emperor realm could enter. I don't believe it. Some empty emperors and even true emperors flew into the cave. However, when they entered the cave, there seemed to be a terrifying energy that blasted all the emperors out. Only those who were below the martial emperor realm were able to stabilize themselves. However, when they approached the lotus, they were blocked by a powerful force. Countless people went down to test it, but the result was the same. Everyone knew that they still had to wait for the moment when the lotus bloomed. Lu Ming and the others did not go down to test it. Since the great emperor had said that there was no need for them to go down, they just had to wait patiently. Then, they followed the teachers of the Origin Mountain Saint Academy and returned to the Origin Mountain Saint Academy. Following that, the news spread to the entire Yuan Mountain at a terrifying speed. The heavenly emperor might have left behind a relic, which shocked countless people. One by one, powerful forces arrived at the celestial city. The forces of the other 8 great holy lands as well as some ancient clans had also sent their experts over. Ancient Moon Sacred Ground, Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, Wan Clan, Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, Golden Crow Tribe, and so on all sent their experts. They were led by true emperors and below martial emperors. This was most likely a relic left behind by the Celestial the Arch. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie. Since emperor-level experts could not descend, the best choice was a quasi-emperor. As time passed, more and more experts arrived at the celestial city. As time passed, the lotus flower slowly bloomed. 1 month later, when the lotus was about to fully bloom, countless people gathered in this area. At a glance, it was impossible to tell how many people there were. Among them, most of them were at the Sage Realm and the Quasi-Emperor Realm. Scram! A loud shout rang out as a group of experts burst forth with shocking auras. The crowd couldn't help but open up a path for them. They were from the Hung clan with more than 100 people led by several true emperors. Although the Hung clan was domineering, many people didn't dare to say anything. The Hung clan was a great emperor's force. With a great emperor in charge, who would dare to offend them? The Hung clan is really domineering. A cold voice rang out. Then the He clan arrived as well. They said that the Hung clan was domineering, but they were the same. With a true emperor leading the way, the crowd forcibly opened up a path. The Hung clan and the He clan were at daggers drawn. Then, experts from the Daluo Heaven sect arrived as well, followed by several powerful ancient clans. The teacher of the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain also arrived with a group of young geniuses. Suddenly, the space near the cave was torn apart. A few figures appeared there, emitting terrifying auras. This was the aura of a great emperor. Everyone couldn't help but step back. The great emperors were observing the situation of the lotus below. Half a day later, the lotus finally bloomed. Let's go down. The great emperor of the Hung clan said. Suddenly the experts of the Hung clan rushed down the cave. Of course they were all below the martial emperor realm. Most of them were quasi-emperors and absolute saints. Then the experts of the He clan also rushed down the cave, along with the experts of the Daluo Heaven sect. Among the experts of the Daluo Heaven sect, Lu Ming saw Luo Tsangqiong and Luo Pokong. Let's go too. The people of the other forces roared, then gathered together and rushed into the cave. The great emperors didn't stop them. One by one they disappeared into the cave. You guys go too. The teacher of the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain looked at Lu Ming and the others. In fact, there weren't many geniuses following the teacher of the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain. Most of the forces had arrived. Those geniuses returned to their respective forces and entered the cave with their respective forces. Only a few of them stayed in the Sacred Academy of Origin Mountain. Lu Ming and the others nodded and rushed into the cave. The cave was huge. Countless figures flew down at the same time, but it didn't seem crowded. Lu Ming and the others looked down and found that many people's bodies shrank rapidly when they approached the lotus. Then they rushed toward one of the petals and disappeared into the petals. It seemed that it was random. It wasn't that you could go to whichever petal you wanted. Instead, you entered a random petal. Many people from the major forces flew over and entered the different petals. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt that a crisis was coming. Whoosh! A terrible golden light came toward Lu Ming from his right. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he blasted a punch to the right. Boom! With a boom, the golden light was defeated by him. Then Lu Ming saw a group of people in golden robes, looking at Lu Ming coldly. It's the experts of the Golden Crow clan. On the side Huang Ling said. The Golden Crow clan. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with murderous intent. These were obviously the absolute saints of the Golden Crow clan, and they were even boundary emperors. The person who had launched a sneak attack on Lu Ming earlier was a perfected absolute saint. The experts of the Golden Crow clan attacked a junior. If you want to fight, let's fight. Next to Huang Ling, an elder said coldly. This elder was an expert of the Phoenix Palace. The experts of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant sect came here with Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, you killed the crown prince of the Golden Crow clan. This debt must be settled. I hope you don't run into us when you enter the world left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. An expert of the Golden Crow clan said coldly. I hope he'll always be so lucky. Another cold voice sounded. It didn't come from the Golden Crow clan, but another force. The people of the Wan clan. Chapter 1936. I'll kill every one of you I see. Lu Ming said coldly as he looked at the experts from the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family and the Sky Wolf Pagoda. Let's wait and see who's going to die. An expert from the Golden Crow clan said coldly. Then the group of people sped up and rushed down. The other forces did the same. They rushed down and entered different petals. However, Lu Ming noticed one thing. Out of the 9 petals there was one that no one had entered. It seemed that only 8 petals could enter. Soon Lu Ming and the others approached the lotus. When they got close to the lotus, a strong force acted on them. This force was a kind of gravitational force. It was extremely strong and difficult to resist. Their bodies were pulled to different petals. Autumn Moon, Luo Qianni, Huang Ling, Huang Li, and the others separated from Lu Ming and entered different petals. Swoosh. As for Lu Ming, he landed on one of the petals. Brother Lu Ming, I want to go with you. Chirp chirp. Bubbles' voice was heard. She had originally flown to another petal. However, Bubbles used the law of space and time to break free from the gravitational force. She rushed to Lu Ming's side and entered the petal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt the world spinning. The next moment he appeared in a dense forest. Bubbles is gone. Lu Ming looked around and found that Bubbles was not beside him. Lu Ming guessed that one would appear in different places randomly after entering the world of petals. What is this place? Let's fly up and see. Lu Ming pondered. His figure soared into the sky and he flew into the sky. Once he was high in the sky, Lu Ming was stunned. He realized that there were many figures in the sky. Obviously, they were people like him who had entered this place from the outside. This is an island. Then Lu Ming looked down. Standing tens of thousands of meters in the sky, he could clearly see that there was an island below them. Beyond the island was the endless sea. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, several figures flashed and surrounded Lu Ming. Powerful and terrifying auras shrouded Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be in the same territory as us. Today will be the day you die. One of them laughed loudly. Murderous intent was extremely strong. This person was an expert from the Golden Crow clan, a quasi-emperor. The others beside him were not from the Golden Crow clan. They were from Sky Wolf Tower, the Wan clan and the Ziji sect. There were 5 of them in total. 2 were at the pinnacle of the Absolute Saint Realm, 2 were at the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm, and 1 was a boundary emperor. A few seniors are actually dealing with a youngster from the younger generation. Interesting. Interesting. Everyone in the surroundings cast sidelong glances at Lu Ming. However, no one recognized Lu Ming. This time, the people who had entered this place were all absolute saints and quasi-emperors from different forces. They came from different sacred grounds and different forces. Very few of them had seen Lu Ming before. Naturally, these people had never seen Lu Ming before. A young man like you has also entered this place. You're overestimating yourself. An elder said, stroking his long beard. He was a quasi-emperor. This time, almost all the people who had entered the world of the lotus were absolute saints. There were even many quasi-emperors. A young man like him wanting to enter and fight for treasures? Wasn't he overestimating himself? Very good. Lu Ming swept his gaze and spoke calmly. Very good. The expert from the Golden Crow clan was stunned. You're here to die. Very good. Lu Ming added. Haha, we're here to die. Young man, you really don't know how to be humble. Let's see how you're going to kill us. An expert from the Wan clan laughed. He was at the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. His acupoints lit up and sacred weapons flew out. Terrifying battle weapon chi gathered and attacked. You're not very good at the 10,000 weapon art. Lu Ming said coldly. An absolute saint weapon appeared in his hand. He slashed out and the battle weapon chi of the expert from the Wan clan collapsed. The sword light didn't stop as it slashed down. The expert from the Wan clan couldn't fight back at all. He was cut in half by Lu Ming's sword and died. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the saint weapon and storage ring of the expert from the Wan clan. How is this possible? The others were shocked. Their eyes widened. A peak absolute saint expert was killed by Lu Ming with a single slash. His strength was too terrifying. The experts from the Golden Crow clan and Sky Wolf Pagoda gasped in disbelief. It had only been a short while, but Lu Ming was already able to kill a perfected absolute saint. This speed of improvement was too shocking. The people from the other forces were also dumbfounded. He's so young but he's so strong. Who is he? Could he be a peerless genius from the Origin Mountain Academy? They didn't dare to underestimate Lu Ming anymore. Let's work together and kill him. The expert from the Golden Crow clan shouted. A river of laws appeared on his body, forming a terrifying attack that attacked Lu Ming. At the same time, the other few people also launched an attack on Lu Ming. The combat sword in Lu Ming's hands flew out and transformed into a destructive sword gleam, killing everything. Lu Ming's sword light pierced through the head of a peak absolute saint expert. Afterward, Lu Ming circulated the hell-suppressing heaven skill and punched out continuously with both fists. Illusory shadows of the hell-suppressing monument appeared one by one, suppressing everyone. The remaining two absolute saints couldn't fight back at all under the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel. With a cry, their bodies were torn apart. Only the Boundary Emperor could resist. Boom. Boom. The Boundary Emperor from the Golden Crow clan's River of Laws turned into terrifying flames and a few suns appeared. They collided with the suppressing Hellsteel's shadow and blasted it apart. However, his body shook violently and he continued to retreat. His eyes were filled with shock. He was a Boundary Emperor who had comprehended a type of law to the point of perfection and formed a River of Laws. He was one step away from becoming a martial emperor. Given his cultivation level, not only was he unable to suppress Lu Ming, but he also vaguely felt that his River of Laws was about to be broken in the previous few collisions. How can this little bastard be so strong? The Golden Crow Boundary Emperor gasped and suddenly turned to run. He had a feeling that if he continued to fight he would die here. You want to leave now? Do you think you can? Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. He stretched out a hand and pointed at the void. Wind and clouds gathered in the sky and a huge finger formed and pressed down on the Golden Crow Boundary Emperor. The Boundary Emperor from the Golden Crow clan roared and transformed into his true form. He spread his wings that were hundreds of meters wide. The River of Laws surrounded him and he unleashed his strongest attack toward the Chaotic Calamity Finger. Boom. Chapter 1937. The Golden Crow Subthearch was blasted off the island by Lu Ming's Chaotic Tribulation Finger. His huge body created a huge pit that was thousands of meters wide on the island. Whoosh. In the next moment, the Golden Crow Subthearch rushed into the sky, wanting to escape into the distance. At this moment he was terrified. He realized that he was no match for Lu Ming at all. The attack just now had directly pierced through his Law River, causing him to be severely injured. The vitality of a Subthearch is really tenacious. However, you must die today, Lu Ming said coldly. His figure rushed out like lightning, chasing after the Golden Crow Subthearch. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the great perfection absolute saint. As his mastery of the Chaotic Tribulation Finger deepened, his battle prowess also became stronger. He originally thought that with his battle prowess he could easily kill a Subthearch. Now it seemed that it was not that easy. The battle prowess of a Subthearch was stronger than he had imagined. However, it would only take a little more effort. Lu Ming's speed was astonishing. He quickly approached the Golden Crow Subthearch. Chaotic Tribulation Finger. When he was close to the Golden Crow Subthearch, Lu Ming used the Chaotic Tribulation Finger again. The huge Chaotic Tribulation Finger was like the finger of a deity. It pressed down from the sky. The scene was extremely shocking. The Golden Crow Subthearch was like a fly. He had nowhere to hide under the Chaotic Tribulation Finger. He could only use all his strength to resist. However, when the Chaotic Tribulation Finger landed, he screamed and was blasted off the island. The sky was filled with golden crow feathers. This time, Lu Ming would not let the Golden Crow Subthearch escape. He appeared above the Golden Crow Subthearch. A supreme sacred weapon spear appeared in his hand. He swooped down and attacked the Golden Crow Subthearch as one with the spear. The Golden Crow Subthearch struggled frantically. He was filled with indignation, but the result was already decided. Poof! The spear pierced through the Golden Crow Subthearch's head and destroyed his soul. A Subthearch was killed by Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were very grave. This was a fiend who could even kill a Subthearch. It was too shocking. He used the law of primal chaos. I know who he is. He is Lu Ming, the son of primal chaos. Someone exclaimed as he recognized Lu Ming. It's him. I heard that this person is the Origin Mountain Saint. He pulled out the Heavenly Thearch's sword and united the kings fought the Star River. Later on he founded the Dragon Alliance. So it's him? No wonder he has such strong battle prowess. Voices filled with surprise rang out one after another. Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard gathered the strongest geniuses of the entire Yuan Mountain. It was the center of attention. Some of the powerful geniuses inside were noticed by many forces. After all, if these geniuses didn't die, they would definitely become the overlords of the Yuan Mountain area in the future. Lu Ming put away the storage rings of the Golden Crow Quasi-Emperor and the rest and continued to fly above the island. The others also collected themselves and began to observe their surroundings. After Lu Ming flew around, he did not meet anyone he knew. It seems that only a small part of the people who entered this petal world appeared on this island. The others should be in other places. Lu Ming thought. Lu Ming discovered that there was no one living on this island. It was a lush forest and there were some weak and small demonic beasts living there. It seems that if I want to know the situation of this world, I must leave here first. I wonder if there are people living in this world? Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. Then he flew into the distance and into the vast sea. The world of the lotus was sealed under the Heavenly the Arch mountain. It should be related to the Heavenly the Arch. If he could get some of the treasures left by the Heavenly the Arch, it would definitely be an unprecedented opportunity. The others circled around the island and left one after another, flying towards the boundless sea. Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and flew on the sea at an astonishing speed. During this time he saw huge sea beasts appear in the sea. However, most of them did not have high cultivation. The strongest sea beast that Lu Ming had seen was only at the Bright Sage realm. Lu Ming did not know if he was unlucky or something else. He flew all the way and did not see the next island. This world was bigger than Lu Ming had imagined. Lu Ming flew for 7 days. He did not know how long he had flown. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. A huge island appeared in front of him. Looking from afar, this island was extremely majestic. It was much bigger than the previous island. Lu Ming flew toward the island. When he got close, Lu Ming heard a loud shout coming from a direction. Someone's here. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he flew toward the sound. Not long after, he saw an army riding on strange beasts. They were galloping on the ground with a majestic aura. The ground was constantly shaking. Most of them are at the spiritual god realm. Some of them are at the martial monarch realm. Lu Ming scanned with his spiritual sense and found out the general situation of the cultivation of this army. Tens of thousands of soldiers galloped back and forth on the open ground. Their auras intersected and converged into a flood dragon that roared at the sky. With Lu Ming's experience, it was not difficult to see that this was an army training. Lu Ming strolled in the air and looked around. He found that there was a huge army camp nearby. Stop right there. Who are you? Suddenly, a loud shout was heard. A few figures appeared in front of Lu Ming and blocked Lu Ming's path. Everyone, I'm just passing by. I want to find someone to ask for some information. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said with a smile. Asking for information? I think you're a spy. Men, take him down and bring him to Mr. Yen. A middle-aged man with a gloomy expression waved his hand. A few figures in armor went forward and surrounded Lu Ming. A cold, murderous intent encapsulated Lu Ming's figure. Lu Ming shook his head. These people were only around the 7th layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming could kill them with a single thought. These people's cultivation is too weak to pose any threat to me. Why don't I pay Mr. Yen a visit and find out more about this world? Lu Ming did not resist as the thought crossed his mind. I'll go with you. Bring him away. The middle-aged man waved his hand and led the way. Soon they arrived at a military camp and walked into a huge military tent. A few figures were standing on both sides of the tent. Lu Ming scanned them with his spiritual sense and discovered that their cultivation was at the half-martial sacred realm. One of them had even reached the lesser success stage of the sacred realm. A young man in a luxurious robe sat at the top of the tent. His eyes were cold as he looked down at Lu Ming. Mr. Yen, this man has suddenly barged into the camp. I suspect that he's a spy sent by another country to spy on us. I've brought him here for you to deal with. Chapter 1938. The young man lay on his side on the seat. He picked up a glass of wine and took a sip. He then casually glanced at Lu Ming and said, Since he is a spy, why did you bring him here? Just kill him. After saying this, he waved his hand. Yes. The middle-aged man received the order and walked toward Lu Ming with a cold gaze. Wait. Lu Ming said. These people wanted to kill him without any explanation, leaving him speechless. The middle-aged man halted his steps and stared coldly at Lu Ming. Kid, what else do you have to say? I've already said that I'm not a spy. I'm just passing by and would like to ask some questions. Lu Ming explained helplessly. Nonsense, everyone in the Bright Flame country knows that this is the place where the Godly Serpent Army is stationed. How dare you say you're just passing by? What a joke. The middle-aged man snapped coldly. What's the point of talking nonsense with a spy? Take him away and kill him. Young Master Yen said impatiently from above. The others on both sides wore a faint smile on their faces as they stared at Lu Ming. It was a look of superiority as if they were looking at an ant. The middle-aged man's expression changed instantly as he wore a ferocious expression and said, "Kid, kneel down at once." He took a step forward and appeared beside Lu Ming. His claws were like that of an eagle's claw as he grabbed at Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming did not dodge the attack. He stood there without moving. The middle-aged man's claw accurately grabbed Lu Ming's shoulder. A powerful force burst out and entered Lu Ming's body, trying to force Lu Ming to kneel down. However, Lu Ming did not move. Even his expression did not change. The middle-aged man's expression changed. He felt as if his claws were grabbing onto a piece of iron. Kneel down at once. The middle-aged man let out a roar as his hair danced wildly and his robe puffed up. He fully unleashed his cultivation of the 9th layer martial dominator realm and inserted a tremendous force into Lu Ming's body. But Lu Ming still stood there motionless. A mere 9th layer martial dominator realm cultivator was no different from an ordinary cultivator in Lu Ming's eyes. Even if Lu Ming were to stand still and allow the man to kill him, the man would not be able to harm even a single strand of his hair. How could the man possibly make him move? Above the tent, young Master Yen stopped drinking and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. The people on both sides of the tent also looked at Lu Ming in surprise. To be able to remain unmoved under the might of a 9th layer martial emperor and have a body as sturdy as a mountain. His cultivation was definitely not weak. Little bastard, kneel down. The middle-aged man let out a roar with a reddened face. He could not even force Lu Ming to kneel down in front of young Master Yen. This would surely leave a bad impression in young Master Yen's mind, as it was related to his future. He could not wait to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Interesting, Lu Quan, you may leave now. Young Master Yen waved his hand. The middle-aged man, who was Lu Quan, glared at Lu Ming murderously and withdrew from the tent. It seems like you're quite capable. Kneel down now and tell me who you are. Perhaps I'll leave your corpse intact. Young Master Yen said calmly. His tone was still imperious, as if leaving Lu Ming's corpse intact would be a great blessing to Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned slightly and said, I told you I'm just passing by and would like to gather some information. Since I'm not welcome here, I'll be leaving. With that, Lu Ming turned around and was about to leave. How bold. How dare you? Ignorant dog, how dare you act like this in front of young Master Yen? Kneel down now. The men on both sides of the tent shouted. Their powerful auras shrouded Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming continued to walk out as if he did not hear them. Above the tent, young Master Yan's face darkened. Lu Ming dared to treat him with such an attitude. He was courting death. Take him down, but don't kill him yet. Break his limbs first. Young Master Yen said coldly. Yes. On both sides of the military tent, a few half-saints received the order. In a flash, they surrounded Lu Ming. Kid, kneel down and kowtow to young Master Yen immediately, then destroy your cultivation. Perhaps young Master Yen will be kind enough to spare your dog life. Lu Quan hooted from the side. Lu Ming frowned again. Originally, Lu Ming did not care about these people at all because they were too weak. Lu Ming did not bother to lower himself to their level. However, they kept pushing him, which made Lu Ming a little unhappy. Kid, kneel down now. A half-saint shouted and was about to attack. Stop. At this moment, a cold shout was heard. Then a group of people walked in from outside the tent. The person in the lead was actually a young woman. This woman was very beautiful. She wore a fiery red armor, which accentuated her curvaceous figure vividly. Moreover, she was very heroic. Her temperament was completely different from the women Lu Ming had met. Behind the young woman there were 4 strong men. Each of them had a strong aura and was full of killing intent. They were obviously fierce generals who had been on the battlefield for a long time. Seeing this woman, the half-saints' expressions changed. They all bowed and saluted. Greetings, Marshal Tianjiao. Stand down. The young woman's gaze swept across the half-saints like lightning. The half-saints looked at young Master Yen with a troubled expression. Young Master Yen waved his hand, and the half-saints retreated. Tianjiao, you're here. Young Master Yen smiled and stood up from his seat. Yen Song, this is my divine WIRM army. What right do you have to kill people in my divine WIRM army? The young woman looked at Yen Song with bright eyes. Yen Song's eyes darkened. However, in the next moment he smiled and said, Tianjiao, this person is a spy. He's here to spy on the military. I didn't inform you. I was going to drag him out and kill him. Spy. The young woman looked at Lu Ming with a trace of murderous intent in her eyes. I'm not a spy. I just happened to pass by. Lu Ming shrugged. How dare you quibble? You're courting death. Qinjiao, I'll get someone to kill this person first. I'll talk to you later. Yen Song scolded. Immediately, a half-saint stepped forward and wanted to take Lu Ming down. Stop. The young woman waved her hand and said, since he's a spy, all the more I have to interrogate him. All of you stand down. Yes. The 4 strong men who came with the young woman bowed and retreated. And all of you. The young woman looked at Yen Song. Qinjiao, this person has some cultivation. I'm worried about leaving you here alone. Yen Song said. If he can kill me, what's the point of you staying here? The young woman said. She was very confident in herself. She was the marshal of the heavenly WRM army and the youngest goddess of war in the country of brightness. If even she couldn't defeat him, what was the point of Yen Song and the others staying here? Chapter 1939. Lu Ming glanced at the young woman. Her cultivation could not be hidden from Lu Ming's eyes. The young woman's cultivation was in the peak bright sacred realm, significantly higher than the others. No wonder she was so confident. Besides, Yen Song's men had referred to her as General Tianjiao. It was likely that her identity was not simple. After the others left, the young woman stared at Lu Ming with glittering eyes and said, Are you really a spy? I'm not. I already told you that I'm only passing by to ask around. Lu Ming shrugged helplessly and explained once again. I believe you. The young woman stared at Lu Ming and said, Do you really believe me that much? It was Lu Ming's turn to be astounded. Because you're very calm. The young woman said, I've been paying attention to you since I came here. You were very calm when facing Yen Song or me. Even when Yen Song said he was going to kill you, you were still calm as if you weren't worried at all. It's as if you could leave at any time. It's not an act, but a reflection of your true attitude. Oh, is that so? Lu Ming rubbed his nose. It was true that he was not worried about their cultivation, thus he was able to remain calm. A person with such an attitude is definitely not an ordinary person. Besides, I'm practicing the serpent battle flesh, but I can feel a great pressure from you. Your spirit is definitely not ordinary. The young woman's eyes glittered as she stared at Lu Ming, as if she was trying to see through Lu Ming's thoughts. You're so sure that I'm not a spy based on these 2 points? It doesn't seem to be enough. Lu Ming smiled. My instinct is telling me that these 2 points are enough. The young woman said. Instinct? Lu Ming was confused. Yes, a woman's instinct. Don't you know that a woman's instinct is very accurate at times? The young woman said. Lu Ming wore a wry smile. He could not refute that. It was unwise to discuss with a woman whether a woman's intuition was accurate or not. So, I'm very curious. Who are you? Which country are you from? The young woman was still staring at Lu Ming. I've already said that I'm just passing by. In the past, I was cultivating on a deserted island and had just come into being. Lu Ming said casually. Really? A ray of light flashed in the young woman's eyes. Her figure suddenly moved. Like a phantom, she rushed towards Lu Ming. Her speed was astonishing. Her palm chopped towards Lu Ming. Of course, this speed was only for ordinary people. To Lu Ming, this speed was no different from a snail. When the young woman's palm was about to hit Lu Ming's body, Lu Ming raised his hand and gently struck out with his palm. Bang! Lu Ming's palm and the young woman's palm collided. The young woman's delicate body trembled and her figure drifted backward. On the other hand, Lu Ming did not move at all. What a strong cultivation. At your age in the 9 nations of the sea, there are only a handful of people with your cultivation. I know every single one of them, but I don't know anyone like you. It seems that my intuition was right. I'm really curious now. The young woman's eyes shone with a strange light. Didn't I tell you? I just came into being. Of course you don't know me. Lu Ming said. Oh, if that's the case, why don't you stay in the Divine WRM army? I'm the marshal of the Divine WRM army, Ruan Tianjiao. The young woman said. Stay here? Impossible. I won't stay here for long. I'll leave soon. Lu Ming shook his head. He had entered this world to look for the heavenly emperor's treasure. He could not stay here for long. You don't have to stay here for long. A short period of time is fine too. You can leave whenever you want. Moreover, didn't you say that you wanted to gather information? Perhaps I can help you. Ruan Tianjiao said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He pondered for a moment and said, Alright, I'll stay here for the time being. Lu Ming indeed needed to gather information. Ruan Qinjiao seemed to be very powerful in this place. As the marshal of an army, she might be able to provide him with a lot of help. Ruan Qinjiao's face lit up. She had a feeling that Lu Ming was extraordinary. What's your name? Ruan Qinjiao asked. Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. What do you want to ask? Ruan Qinjiao asked curiously. I want to know where this place is. Lu Ming said. This entire island is a country called the Bright Flame Country. Ruan Qinjiao said. What about above? Are there other countries? How big is this world? Are there any ancient ruins? Lu Ming asked several questions in a row. You don't even know these? Ruan Qinjiao was very surprised. Haven't I been in seclusion? I just came out. Lu Ming touched his nose and said. There's an introduction to this world in this jade token. Take a look. A jade token appeared in Ruan Qinjiao's hand and she handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. He began to read the knowledge in the jade token. After reading it, Lu Ming had a rough idea of what was going on. It turned out that this world was called the Infinite Seas Realm. Most of the territory in this world was the sea. However, there were also countless islands in the sea. Some of the islands were not big and were deserted. They were not suitable for humans to live in. Some of the bigger islands were very wide and suitable for humans to live in. Countless martial artists occupied these islands and formed countries. The Bright Flame Island they were on was a big island. The entire island was a country called the Bright Flame Country. Ruan Qinjiao was one of the 5 marshals of the Bright Flame Country, the marshal of the Divine WRM army. As for the ancient ruins you mentioned, there are indeed some in the vast seas realm. When we return to the capital, I'll organize the information about those ruins and give it to you. How about that? Ruan Qinjiao said. How long before you return to the capital? Lu Ming asked. A month. Don't tell me you can't even wait for a month. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. From the introduction just now, the Infinite Seas realm was huge and there were countless islands. It would be too difficult for him to search for them one by one. He did not know how long it would take. With Ruan Qinjiao's help, it would save him a lot of time. Come with me. I'll arrange a military tent for you. You can stay there first. After saying that, Ruan Qinjiao walked out of the tent. Lu Ming followed him. When they walked out of the tent, they saw Yen Song and the others standing not far away from the tent. When they saw Lu Ming coming out with Ruan Qinjiao, they were stunned. Qinjiao, how is it? Is this brat a spy? I suggest that we kill him immediately. Yen Song said. You're mistaken. He's not a spy. Now that I've investigated thoroughly, you can all leave. Ruan Qinjiao waved his hand. What? He's not a spy? Qinjiao, don't be fooled by him. I suggest we cripple him first and then slowly interrogate him. Men, take this kid down. Chapter 1940. Enough. Just as the 2 half-sages walked toward Lu Ming, Ruan Qinjiao shouted coldly. He looked at the 2 half-sages and scolded, Stand down. The 2 half-sages froze. They didn't know whether to move or not. In the end they looked at Yen Song. Qinjiao, what is the meaning of this? This person is a spy. Yen Song said with an ugly expression. I said that he is not a spy. He is my guest. Also, this is the Divine WRM army, not the Yen family. I am the marshal of the Divine WRM army. Do you understand? Ruan Qinjiao's eyes were like lightning as he looked at the 2 half-sages. The 2 half-sages had ugly expressions but they still retreated. Lu Ming, let's go. Ruan Qinjiao nodded at Lu Ming and walked forward. Yen Song's face was extremely gloomy. Ruan Qinjiao took a few steps and stopped. He looked at Yen Song and said, Yen Song, let me tell you. Don't call me by my name in the future. We are not that close. After saying that, he ignored Yen Song and strode forward. Damn it, bitch. Yen Song clenched his fists. His face, which could be considered handsome, was twisted with anger. That Yen Song seems to be interested in you. After walking for a while, Lu Ming said with a smile. Humph, he is just relying on the fact that his father is the state preceptor and his sister is the emperor's favorite concubine to do whatever he wants. He is a typical hedonistic son of a rich family. Who knows how many girls he has harmed on a daily basis. Now, he has come to the Divine WRM army camp to pester me. Ruan Qinjiao said with a cold face. Lu Ming thought to himself, it seems that Ruan Qinjiao has a bad impression of Yen Song. Lu Ming, Yen Song is a narrow-minded person. You have offended him today. Be careful in the future. Yuan Qinjiao warned. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly, his expression indifferent. A mere yen song was not enough to enter his eyes. Soon they arrived at a military tent. This was where Lu Ming would be staying. Lu Ming, this is a military order. Take it, and you can freely enter the Divine Dragon Army's barracks in the future. Nguyen Qinjiao handed a token to Lu Ming. Thank you. Lu Ming took it and cupped his fists to express his gratitude. He was a little surprised. He had only just met Nguyen Qinjiao, but he trusted him so much? After that, Lu Ming temporarily stayed with the Divine Dragon Army. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Lu Ming and some of Nguyen Qinjiao's subordinates had become rather familiar with each other. As for Lu Ming, he knew more about this world, the Bright Fire Country, and even Nguyen Qinjiao. What surprised Lu Ming was that Yuan Qinjiao's status in Mingyan Country was much higher than Lu Ming had imagined. The goddess of war in Mingyan Country was what everyone in Mingyan Country called Nguyen Qinjiao. Yuan Qinjiao was born in a military family. Her talent was extremely rare. At a young age, her cultivation had reached the great circle of the Bright Saint realm. She stood at the peak of the Bright Saint country and was one of the top experts in the Bright Fire country. She had made great contributions to the Bright Fire country and was known as the goddess of war. She was loved by the people of the Bright Fire country. Yen Song was the son of the state preceptor. His sister was the king's most beloved imperial concubine. Yen Song was lustful by nature and had harmed many women. Now he had set his sights on Nguyen Qinjiao and often went to the Divine Dragon Army's barracks to harass Nguyen Qinjiao. It seems that the martial strength of this world isn't very high. Lu Ming pondered. According to the information that Lu Ming had gathered, he realized that the martial strength of this world wasn't high. It couldn't be compared to Yuanlu. Nguyen Qinjiao's cultivation was at the Great Sage realm and she was the most powerful person in Mingyan country. In the blink of an eye, another few days had passed. Lu Ming stood on a mountain peak and looked into the distance. On the flat ground in front of him, an army rode on strange beasts and galloped on the ground. Their murderous intent formed a huge dragon that roared at the sky. It's a good army. They have been through hundreds of battles. Unfortunately, their cultivation is a little weak and their battle formation isn't exquisite enough. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Soon, a few figures stepped on the air and landed in front of Lu Ming. It was Nguyen Qinjiao and a few of his subordinates. Lu Ming, what do you think of my Divine Dragon Army? Nguyen Qinjiao asked. No. Lu Ming shook his head. No. Nguyen Qinjiao was shocked. Brat, you don't know anything. The Divine Dragon Army is ranked first among the 5 strongest armies in Mingyan country. How dare you say that it's no good? What a joke. One of Nguyen Qinjiao's subordinates was instantly enraged. He widened his eyes and looked as though he wanted to eat Lu Ming alive. No means no. Other than the battle spirit and murderous aura, the rest is useless, especially the battle formation. Lu Ming curled his lips. Since Nguyen Qinjiao wanted to ask him, he would naturally tell the truth. A few of the subordinates glared at Lu Ming. They had originally thought that Lu Ming might be a top figure. Now they felt that Lu Ming was just a boastful person. Lu Ming, my Divine Dragon battle formation is the best battle formation in Mingyan country. How dare you say that it's useless? Nguyen Qinjiao's expression was ugly. He looked at Lu Ming with a tinge of resentment. You asked me yourself. I'm just speaking from the bottom of my heart. Lu Ming touched his nose and was speechless. Does that mean that you have a stronger battle formation? Nguyen Qinjiao continued to look at Lu Ming with a tinge of resentment. I do. Take this and take a look. A jade token appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he threw it to Nguyen Qinjiao. Nguyen Qinjiao took the jade token and scanned it with her spiritual consciousness. She exclaimed, "This is the true dragon battle formation. What a wonderful battle formation." Lu Ming had indeed thrown the true dragon battle formation to Nguyen Qinjiao. Back when he was helping Lu Ming to fight for the position of crown prince, he had made a few copies of the jade token. This battle formation was useless to Lu Ming, so there was no harm in giving it to Nguyen Qinjiao. Seeing Nguyen Qinjiao lose her composure, the subordinates looked at each other. Could it be that Lu Ming had really given her a battle formation that was stronger than the Divine Dragon battle formation? Nguyen Qinjiao sank her consciousness into the jade token and studied it carefully as though she was entranced. After a while, she was overjoyed and said, "Train the new battle formation immediately." After saying that, he rushed to the battlefield in a hurry. The 4 generals followed him with a confused look on their faces. In the following days, Nguyen Tianjiao focused on training the new battle formation. If there was anything she did not understand, she would run to Lu Ming to ask him. In just over 10 days, the battle formation training had reached a considerable scale. The army gathered and activated the True Dragon battle formation. A true dragon was formed and roared at the sky. Its might was many times stronger than the divine dragon from before. At this time, Nguyen Tianjiao and her subordinates were full of admiration for Lu Ming. No one suspected that Lu Ming was a spy. How could a spy possibly give them such a brilliant battle formation to cultivate? Nguyen Tianjiao was even more relieved that her intuition was right. Lu Ming was not an ordinary person. Chapter 1941. During this period of time, Yen Song was extremely depressed and furious. In Yen Song's tent, he slammed his palm heavily on the table. The terrifying force of his palms smashed the table into pieces. "Damn bitch!" Yen Song roared. His face was extremely ferocious and filled with murderous intent. During this period of time, every time he looked for Ruan Tianjiao, he was stopped by Ruan Tianjiao's subordinates. They said that Ruan Tianjiao had to train the army and had no time. However, Yen Song had received news that Ruan Tianjiao was hanging out with Lu Ming every day. "Young master, it seems that Ruan Tianjiao is mesmerized by Lu Ming. I wonder what that kid did to Ruan Tianjiao." "That's right. It's all because of Lu Ming. When I first saw him, I knew that he wasn't a good person. If not for that kid, Ruan Tianjiao might have already thrown himself into young master's arms." Yen Song's subordinates added fuel to the fire, making Yen Song even angrier. His murderous intent was like a knife. "That kid must die," Yen Song said coldly. He continued, "I asked you to keep an eye on that kid. Where is he now?" "Young master, we just received news that the kid has returned to his tent." One of them replied. "Very good. Let's go. I want that kid to die miserably." Yen Song's eyes revealed a sinister look. He led a few of his subordinates and walked toward Lu Ming's tent. Lu Ming was cultivating in the tent when a loud roar came from outside. "Lu Ming, get out here." A voice filled with murderous intent came, making Lu Ming frown. He knew that it was Yen Song's voice. A sharp light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He got up and walked out of the tent. He saw Yen Song and a few of his subordinates looking coldly at Lu Ming. Some members of the Divine Wyrm army were alarmed and gathered around to watch. However, Yen Song's status was not to be underestimated. No one dared to come over and speak. "Why are you looking for me?" Lu Ming glanced at Lu Ming indifferently. "Kid, I've already given you a chance but you didn't cherish it. Now you dare to snatch my woman? You're courting death." Yen Song said coldly. "You gave me a chance?" Lu Ming couldn't help but shake his head. At that time, who would give who a chance? "Lowly dog, why don't you take a piss and take a good look at yourself? How dare you go against me? A dog like you should kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. Do you understand? Kill him." Yen Song shouted and waved his hand. Bang! Bang! The two half-saint martial artists stepped forward and unleashed their powerful auras. They were about to attack Lu Ming. "Stop, young Master Yen. Lu Ming is the marshal's friend. If the marshal finds out that you're treating Lu Ming like this, I'm afraid you won't be able to explain yourself." Right then, a burly man rushed over and shouted. He was the deputy general of the Divine Flood Dragon Army. He had become quite familiar with Lu Ming during this period of time. Scram! Yen Song shouted angrily and slapped the big man. The big man didn't dare to block and was slapped in the face, causing him to stumble backwards. "Who do you think you are? I don't need you to comment on my actions. If you continue to spout nonsense, I'll kill you too." Yen Song glanced coldly at the big man, causing his face to turn pale. "Oh no, Yen Song wants to kill Lu Ming. Hurry up and inform the marshal." Some people in the surroundings whispered. Then, someone quickly left to inform Nguyen Tianjiao. "I'll return this slap to you tenfold." Lu Ming looked at Yen Song and his face turned cold. "Ah, you're boasting shamelessly." Yen Song laughed. "Kid, kneel down first." The two half-saints rushed towards Lu Ming from the left and right. They waved their hands and grabbed Lu Ming. They wanted to make Lu Ming kneel in front of Yen Song before killing him. "Since you like to kneel, then, kneel." Lu Ming used the soul illusion technique on the last two words. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have turned into a demon god in the eyes of the two half-saints. He ruled the world and had absolute control over life and death. The terrifying aura almost scared the two out of their wits. Their bodies didn't seem to listen to them. With a plop, they knelt in front of Lu Ming. This, Yin Song was dumbfounded. His other two subordinates were also dumbfounded. The people of the Divine Flood Dragon Army were also stunned. What's going on? Why did the two half-saints of Yin Song suddenly kneel in front of Lu Ming? Lu Ming didn't even make a move. He only said a few words and knelt down. These two half-saints were the closest to being a saint. Could it be that Lu Ming was a saint? The crowd guessed. It seems like your two subordinates know that they were wrong and knelt down to beg for mercy. As for you, if you don't kneel down, I might consider sparing you this time. Lu Ming looked at Yin Song indifferently. You son of a bitch, how dare you fight back? You are indeed a spy. Attack and kill him. Yin Song came to his senses and roared furiously. Kill? Beside Yin Song, an old man stepped out and released a terrifying aura. This old man was a bright saint initial success. In the country of bright fire, he was a famous top expert. The old man's aura made many people's faces change drastically. This was a saint, the top expert in the country of brightness. A half-saint couldn't be compared to him. Why isn't the marshal here yet? Some people were anxious and worried about Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming had used some unknown method to make the two half-sages kneel down, the difference between a sage and a half-sage was too great. The old man's aura became stronger and stronger, pressing towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming still stood there, motionless as if he didn't see the old man, deliberately mystifying things. Go to hell. The old man's eyes were ferocious. His hand was like a knife, grabbing towards Lu Ming. Kneel down. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke again. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was like thunder in the old man's ears. It was as if a god was shouting in his ears. At this moment, his soul was under terrifying pressure. He couldn't summon any strength in his body. Blah. Like the previous two half-saints, he knelt down in front of Lu Ming. The scene suddenly quieted down. At this moment, time and space froze. Everyone was dumbfounded. They looked coldly at Lu Ming and then at the old man. A saint had knelt down in front of Lu Ming. A moment ago he was murderous and wanted to kill Lu Ming. The next moment he knelt in front of Lu Ming. What was going on? Many people found that they couldn't wrap their heads around it. They had never seen such a thing before. A Saint Realm expert had knelt down without even fighting. What kind of trick was this? Yin Song was also stunned. His mouth was open so wide that he could swallow a dead mouse. His throat seemed to be stuck and he couldn't make a sound for a long time. It seems that your subordinates are very sensible. They realized their mistakes and knelt down to admit their mistakes. Now why don't you kneel down? Chapter 1942. When Lu Ming spoke, Yin Song reacted as if he had just woken up from a dream. You son of a bitch. What kind of sorcery did you use? How dare you make the sage of the country of light kneel down? You're so bold. Just you wait. This isn't over. Then Yin Song turned around and was about to leave. Lu Ming was too strange. He could make an expert of the Saint State kneel down. He felt scared and wanted to return to the capital to report to his father. Then he would send experts to take revenge. Did I allow you to leave? Lu Ming's indifferent voice sounded. He moved and appeared in front of Yin Song. His cold, knife-like gaze swept toward Yin Song, causing Yin Song's expression to change drastically. He could not help but take a few steps back. What do you want? Yin Song shouted. Kneel down and slap your own mouth. Lu Ming said indifferently. How dare you? Boy, how dare you touch me? Do you know the consequences? Yin Song shouted. Oh, what consequences? Lu Ming said playfully. Son of a bitch, listen carefully. My father is the state preceptor and my sister is His Majesty's favorite concubine. How dare you touch me? I'll make sure you die without a burial place and exterminate your 9 generations. Yin Song shouted and stared coldly at Lu Ming. He didn't believe that Lu Ming dared to touch him. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming slapped him. The slap was unbelievably fast. Yin Song couldn't dodge it at all. Slap. The crisp sound of the slap echoed in all directions. Yin Song flew out and spun dozens of times in the air. Then he fell heavily on the ground. Half of his face was swollen and all his teeth were knocked out by Lu Ming. Yin Song was stunned. The others were also stunned. Lu Ming really dared to hit Yin Song. His guts were really big. Ah, son of a bitch, how dare you hit me? I want you dead. I'll skin you alive. Yin Song roared hysterically. Just now he had come over murderously wanting to kill Lu Ming. In the end, his subordinates had inexplicably knelt in front of Lu Ming. Now Lu Ming had actually dared to slap him. This was a great humiliation. He wished he could chop Lu Ming into pieces. Slap him. Lu Ming said coldly as he slapped the air. A palm condensed from Saint Power was formed and slapped Yen Song's face. Yen Song's body flew out again and spun a few times in the air. Under the control of Lu Ming's force, he fell to the ground and knelt there. I just said that I want you to pay me back tenfold. You slapped me once, so I'll slap you 10 times. Lu Ming said coldly. He waved his hand again and delivered another 10 slaps. After 10 consecutive slaps, Yen Song's face had turned into a pig's head. His face was swollen beyond recognition. I'm sorry, I gave you 2 more slaps. Lu Ming curled his lips. In addition to the previous 2 slaps, there were a total of 12 slaps. Yen Song was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. This was too much. Swoosh. At this moment, a ray of light flew over from afar and landed on the ground. It was Ruan Tianjiao. She rushed over as soon as she received the news. When she saw the scene, she was speechless. Yen Song dared to hit Lu Ming. He was asking for it. She rushed over not because she was worried about Lu Ming, but because she was afraid that Lu Ming would kill Yen Song in a fit of anger. Yen Song was the son of the state preceptor after all. If he died, there would be trouble. Tianjiao, you came at the right time. Lu Ming is a spy. How dare he hit an expert from our bright flame country? Get your men to take him down. Cripple his cultivation and bring him back for interrogation. Yen Song screamed hysterically when he saw Ruan Tianjiao. Ruan Tianjiao shook her head secretly. Yen Song was still stubborn. Yen Song, I've told you long ago that Lu Ming is my guest and not a spy. Furthermore, you were the one who started this. You only have yourself to blame. Ruan Tianjiao said plainly. What? What did you say? I asked for it? Ruan Tianjiao, you adulterous couple. Just you wait. Yen Song was furious. He left behind a few harsh words and staggered away. Get lost. Then Lu Ming waved his hand and a few of Yen Song's subordinates flew out and landed heavily on the ground. They got up in a sorry state and ran away. Lu Ming, thank you for not killing Yen Song. Ruan Tianjiao cupped her fists at Lu Ming. She knew that Lu Ming did not kill Yen Song mostly because of her. Lu Ming smiled and said, I didn't implicate you by hitting Yen Song, did I? No, I'm one of the 5 marshals of Bright Fire Country. Yen Song can't do anything to me. Ruan Tianjiao shook her head. The matter was over just like that. After that, Ruan Tianjiao continued to train the army while Lu Ming cultivated every day. After more than 10 days, he went to the capital with Ruan Tianjiao. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. On this day, someone from the capital came with an imperial edict from the emperor. Ruan Tianjiao led his men to receive the edict. The person who came to deliver the edict was a skinny old man. He squinted his eyes and smiled. Congratulations, Marshal Ruan Tianjiao. His Majesty has decreed that you will be betrothed to young Master Yen Song. The wedding will take place soon. What? Those words were like a bolt from the blue. It stunned Ruan Tianjiao and her subordinates. The emperor betrothed Ruan Tianjiao to Yen Song? How was that possible? Super Overlord, are you sure you're not mistaken? I'm a marshal. Why would His Majesty grant a marriage so easily? Ruan Tianjiao asked. Chief's face darkened. His Majesty has issued the edict himself and announced it to the world. How can it be wrong? Damn it, it must be Yen Song. What did he say to His Majesty? It's most likely his sister, concubine Qing. She bewitched His Majesty. Several of Ruan Tianjiao's subordinates were furious. Needless to say, it must be Yen Song's doing. Yen Song pursued Ruan Tianjiao, but Ruan Tianjiao never treated Yen Song well. 7 days ago, Yen Song was taught a lesson by Lu Ming. He must have harbored a grudge. After returning to the capital, he must have told the emperor something. Otherwise, why would the emperor suddenly grant a marriage? Marshal Ruan Tianjiao, accept the edict and thank His Majesty for his kindness. The supergiant said coldly. Chief, please go back. Please forgive me for not accepting the edict. Ruan Tianjiao said with a sullen face. What? You're not accepting the edict? Ruan Tianjiao, are you going to defy the edict? Chief scolded coldly. So what if I defy the edict? That fatuous emperor is getting muddle-headed. One of the subordinates said coldly. How dare you insult His Majesty? That's a capital offense. Chief pointed at the subordinate and shouted. I think you'll be the first to die. The subordinate emitted a cold murderous intent as he looked at Chief. Chief shuddered. His face turned pale and cold sweat broke out all over his body. If Yuan Qinjiao rebelled in anger and killed him, he would have died in vain. Chief, please go back. I won't accept the edict. I'll return to the capital personally and ask His Majesty. Chapter 1943. I will leave tomorrow and return to the capital. I will leave the divine WRM army to you all. Yuan Qinjiao looked at his subordinates. Marshal, why don't we just rebel? One of the subordinates said. That's right. His Majesty is muddle-headed and infatuated with concubine Qin. He doesn't care about the state affairs and all the power is controlled by the Grand Tutor. Why don't we just rebel and replace him? Marshal, you are the goddess of war and have contributed greatly to the Bright Flame country. If you replace him, the people will definitely welcome you. A few of the subordinates spoke one after another, advising Yuan Qinjiao to rebel and kill his way to the capital. Shut up. Yuan Qinjiao shouted and everyone shut up. My Yuan family has been loyal for generations. How can we rebel? In the future, don't mention such things again. Otherwise, we will punish you according to military law. Yuan Qinjiao shouted. His gaze was like lightning, causing the subordinates' faces to turn ugly. Marshal, we will go to the capital with you tomorrow. If the Yen family is plotting something, we can take care of each other. One of the subordinates said. No need. Your mission is to oversee the divine WIRM army. I have the ability to protect myself. Yuan Qinjiao said. Tomorrow I will go with you. A voice could be heard. It was Lu Ming who was walking over. Of course, Lu Ming had seen everything that had happened just now. He was going to the capital anyway and could go with Yuan Qinjiao. Yuan Qinjiao looked at Lu Ming and nodded his head. The next day, Lu Ming and Yuan Qinjiao rode on a mutated beast and headed to the capital of the Bright Flame country. The island was vast. However, the mutated beasts they rode were fast like the wind. In 3 days they arrived at the capital of the Bright Flame country. On the way, Yuan Qinjiao explained the situation of the Bright Flame country. Ever since the emperor of the Bright Flame country was infatuated with concubine Qin, he had neglected the state affairs and the power was controlled by the Grand Tutor. The Grand Tutor had plundered all the treasures in the Bright Flame country for his own cultivation, causing the people to live in poverty and the country's power to decline day by day. Currently, the Grand Tutor was the most powerful person in the Bright Flame country. The capital of the Bright Fire Nation was very big and lively. However, Lu Ming had seen the prosperity of the Celestial City. Compared to the Celestial City, the Bright Fire Nation was like a village in the wilderness. The two of them rode their strange beasts into the capital and headed towards the Imperial Palace. Greetings, Marshal Tianjiao. Greetings, Heavenly Dragon War Goddess. The moment they entered the capital, the people who saw Nguyen Tianjiao bowed to him. It seems that you are very loved by the people. Lu Ming smiled and transmitted his voice to Nguyen Tianjiao. I'm just doing my duty, Yuan Qinjiao said. He then nodded at the crowd and continued forward. Sigh, Marshal Tianjiao is such a peerless talent, yet she's actually going to marry that bastard Yen Song. What a pity. Isn't that so? But now that the Yen family is so powerful that even His Majesty listens to them, what can we do? It's just a pity for Marshal Tianjiao. Lu Ming heard the sighs and discussions of the commoners. Not long after, they arrived in front of a series of palaces. This was the Imperial Palace. However, they were blocked outside the Imperial Palace. Marshal Tianjiao, please forgive us. His Majesty has ordered that he won't see anyone for the next 2 days. A general guarding the gate cupped his fist and said, Go and inform him that I'm back. Nguyen Tianjiao said with a frown. His Majesty has said that if Marshal Tianjiao is back, there's no need to inform him. In 3 days, His Majesty will prepare a banquet to welcome you back. Marshal, come back in 3 days. The general guarding the gate said. Nguyen Tianjiao frowned and then left the Imperial Palace with Lu Ming without saying anything else. Not long after, they arrived in front of a mansion with the words Nguyen Mansion written on it. This was Nguyen Tianjiao's mansion in the capital. They were temporarily staying in the Nguyen family. After arranging a room for Lu Ming, Nguyen Tianjiao left the Nguyen family. No one knew where he went. A day later, Nguyen Tianjiao returned. Lu Ming, I've brought you the information you wanted about the ancient ruins. Nguyen Tianjiao found Lu Ming and handed a jade token to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. Indeed, he found some ancient ruins of the 10,000 Seas realm recorded in it. Tianjiao, where is the most famous ruin in the 10,000 Seas realm? After looking at it for a while, Lu Ming asked. Of course it's the sacred mountain of time. Legend has it that the sacred mountain of time has existed for countless years. It was left behind by an immortal. Nguyen Tianjiao said. An immortal. Lu Ming muttered. During this period he had a deeper understanding of the martial arts cultivation in the 10,000 Seas realm and the martial arts realms. Some of the realms and titles in the 10,000 Seas realm were the same as in the outside world. They went all the way to Martial Emperor, then Bright Sage, Supreme Sage and Paragon Sage. However, there were changes after reaching Paragon Sage. Those above Paragon Sage were called Sage Emperors in the 10,000 Seas realm. Lu Ming speculated that Sage Emperors were equivalent to Boundary Emperors in the outside world. According to the ancient records and legends in the Bright Flame country, Sage Emperors were the highest realm in this world. Above that was Immortal. Immortal had an endless lifespan and was immortal. However, it was a legend in the 10,000 Seas realm. It had never appeared before. Lu Ming speculated that the immortal in the 10,000 Seas realm was the Martial Emperor in the outside world. The sacred mountain of time was left behind by an immortal. Could it be the Heavenly Emperor? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He had to go to the sacred mountain of time. It might have something to do with the Heavenly Emperor. How can I go to the sacred mountain of time? Lu Ming asked. I don't know. Nguyen Tianjiao shook his head and said, Legend has it that the sacred mountain of time is on the sacred island of time. However, no one can find the sacred island of time. No one has been there before? Lu Ming frowned. Of course. Every 3 years, the sacred island of time will send out an envoy to bring a group of people to the sacred island of time to cultivate. It is said that the sacred island of time has unique cultivation conditions. It is the sacred island of martial arts that countless people in the 10,000 Seas realm yearn for. The next time we go to the sacred island of time is not far away. Soon, the 9 nations of sea will hold an alliance to select the people who will go to the sacred island of time. The Bright Flame country will also participate. Lu Ming, if you want to go to the sacred island of time, that will be your chance. Nguyen Tianjiao explained. The 9 Nations Alliance? Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He had to go to the sacred mountain of time. Lu Ming speculated that the experts who came from the outside world would probably go to the sacred mountain of time. After all, it was suspected to be left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. If there were any treasures, they would be priceless. In a flash, 3 days had passed. 3 days later, Lu Ming and Nguyen Tianjiao went to the palace. This time, someone welcomed them into the palace and they came to an open space. This place was beautiful and the environment was very elegant. At this time, there were already some banquets on both sides of the place. When Lu Ming and Nguyen Tianjiao arrived, they saw that there were already many people. When Lu Ming arrived, he felt a cold gaze on him. Lu Ming followed the gaze and saw Yen Song staring at Lu Ming with a murderous look. Chapter 1944. Beside Yen Song was a skinny old man. His hair was white and he was dressed in luxurious clothes. He looked similar to Yen Song. Lu Ming guessed that this person should be the Grand Tutor. The Grand Tutor squinted his eyes and smiled faintly. It was hard to tell what he was thinking and he gave off a scheming vibe. In the middle seat there were 2 people. One of them was an old man with white hair. He was dressed in a dragon robe and had a jade crown on his head. He should be the monarch of Bright Flame country. Beside the king of Light Fire country, there was a beautiful lady. She looked to be in her 20s. Her figure was graceful and her eyes were like silk. She was extremely charming and enchanting. This person should be Yen Song's sister, Imperial Concubine Qing. In other seats there were other people with extraordinary auras. They should be the upper echelons of Bright Flame country. Yuan Tianjiao strode forward and bowed to the monarch of Bright Flame country. Greetings, Your Majesty. Tianjiao is back. There's no need for formalities. Please take a seat. The monarch of Bright Flame country laughed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yuan Tianjiao said. After which, he walked to a row of seats with Lu Ming and sat down. How dare you, Lu Ming? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to sit there? Lu Ming had just sat down when Yen Song slammed the table and stood up. He looked at Lu Ming coldly. Lu Ming smirked. He was going to make things difficult for him so soon. Get up. Don't you know where you are? Or are you sitting here? With your status, do you have the right to sit here? Get up and scram to the side. Yen Song chided again. However, Lu Ming acted as though he didn't hear him. He picked up the wine cup on the table and took a sip. Good wine. It's really good wine. It's a pity that a wild dog is barking and ruining the mood. You? How dare you? Yen Song was enraged. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Do you think you're noble? Why did you kneel before me? Lu Ming laughed disdainfully. Shut up. Men, remove this person's seat. Yen Song shouted. Immediately, someone stepped forward to remove Lu Ming's seat. The king of Bright Flame Country, Imperial Concubine Qing, the Imperial Tutor, and the rest of the people looked on indifferently as though they were watching a good show. Scram. At that moment, Ruan Qinjiao let out a delicate roar and a murderous aura emanated from her. The bodyguard who was about to remove Lu Ming's seat froze in place. Lu Ming is my friend. If you want to remove Lu Ming's position, then remove mine as well. Nguyen Qinjiao shouted. The guard stood there in a daze, not knowing what to do. Ruan Qinjiao's status was incomparable to Lu Ming's. She was the marshal of the divine WRM army and the goddess of war of the Bright Fire Country. How could he dare to remove Ruan Qinjiao from her position? Retreat? Why aren't we retreating? Ruan Qinjiao stared at the guard with a threatening gaze. The guard broke out in cold sweat and looked at Yen Song, the Grand Preceptor, and the others for help. Damn it. Yen Song was infuriated and jealous. Lu Ming did not know what medicine he had fed Ruan Qinjiao, but Ruan Qinjiao had been protecting Lu Ming. All right, you may leave. Since this young man is a friend of the marshal, he can naturally sit here. At that moment, the imperial tutor spoke. The guard heaved a sigh of relief, bowed, and retreated as though he had been pardoned. Qinjiao, you've returned just in time. I've already granted you a marriage and the date has been set. You've returned just in time to marry Yen Song. The king of Bright Flame Country spoke. Your Majesty, I've returned for this matter. Feelings can't be forced. I have no feelings for Yen Song. I hope your Majesty can retract your order. Ruan Qinjiao stood up and bowed to the king of Bright Flame Country. How dare you? Imperial Concubine Qing, who was standing beside the king of Bright Flame Country, shouted coldly, the monarch's words are not a joke. Since your Majesty has already given the order, how can you retract it? Ruan Qinjiao, do you want your Majesty to be a man who goes back on his words? I wouldn't dare. Ruan Qinjiao cupped her fists and said, if it's anything else, I'll definitely honor it. If you ask me to go into battle to kill the enemy, I won't even frown. However, I can't accept this order. Qinjiao, Imperial Concubine Qing, has also said that the monarch's words are not a joke. Moreover, Yen Song is not bad and is a good match for you. This matter is settled then. The king of Bright Flame Country waved his hand and said in an unquestionable tone. Ruan Qinjiao was in disbelief. She did not expect the king of Bright Flame Country to marry her to Yen Song so hastily without her consent. Although the king of Bright Flame Country in the past was muddle-headed, he would not do this. Previously, your Majesty has already announced to the world that the two of you will be married in half a month. This matter is settled then. During this period, Marshal Qinjiao shall stay in the palace. The imperial tutor spoke as though the matter had been settled. Ruan Qinjiao shook her head. She was extremely disappointed in the king of Bright Flame Country. Initially, she came back to ask the king of Bright Flame Country for an explanation and for the king of Bright Flame Country to retract his order. However, she now realized that the king of Bright Flame Country was completely on the imperial tutor's side. Lu Ming did not say anything. A strange light flashed in his eyes as he secretly sized up the king of Bright Flame Country. He had discovered something interesting. Qinjiao, I'm afraid the king of Bright Flame Country won't listen to you. Imperial Concubine Qing is good at seduction techniques. The king of Bright Flame Country has already fallen for her seduction techniques and will listen to everything she says. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ruan Qinjiao. What? Ruan Qinjiao was stunned at first. Then she flew into a rage and stood up abruptly. A powerful aura spread out as she glared at the imperial tutor and shouted, Yen Kuei and Yen Ling, how dare you use seduction techniques to bewitch his majesty? As soon as she said that, the expressions of Imperial Concubine Qing, the imperial tutor Yen Song, and the others changed drastically. Ruan Qinjiao, what nonsense are you talking about? Yen Song roared. You know very well whether I'm talking nonsense or not. Yen Kuei and Yen Ling, you dare to plot against his majesty and control him from the shadows. No wonder his majesty doesn't care about the affairs of the imperial court and gave you all the power. I'm going to announce this to the world. Lu Ming, let's go. Having said that, Ruan Qinjiao strode out. Stop him. The imperial tutor's face was gloomy. With a wave of his hand, 4 figures flashed and surrounded Lu Ming and Ruan Qinjiao. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Perfect bright sage realm. Lu Ming did not need to look to know that the four of them were at the perfect bright sage realm and were not any weaker than Ruan Tianjiao. The four of you are marshals. Are you willing to give in to the imperial tutor? Ruan Tianjiao spoke with a solemn expression. The four of them were on par with her. The other four marshals of Bright Fire Country had strong combat strength. They were all in the great circle of the Bright Sage realm. Each of their combat strength was not much weaker than hers. If the four of them joined forces, she would definitely be no match for them. Ruan Tianjiao, you disobeyed the imperial decree. You are indeed ambitious and want to rebel. The imperial tutor spoke plainly and pinned a serious crime on Ruan Tianjiao. Nonsense. Chapter 1945. The imperial advisor sneered and said, "You didn't even listen to His Majesty's orders and disobeyed the edict. If this isn't rebellion, what is it? Moreover, I've already received news that you secretly colluded with Luoshui Nation and attempted to overthrow the Bright Flame Nation. You deserve to die." Colluding with Luoshui Nation? Nonsense. Who would believe your one-sided story? Ruan Tianjiao shouted. "If you want evidence, I'll give it to you. Come out." The imperial advisor's cold voice was heard. Then a burly man in his 30s walked out. "Greetings, Your Majesty." "Greetings, imperial advisor." The burly man bowed to the king and the imperial advisor. "Wang Xing, why are you here?" Ruan Tianjiao was very surprised because Wang Xing was her bodyguard who had followed her for many years. However, she did not allow Wang Xing to come to the capital. Shouldn't Wang Xing be with the Divine WRM army? Ruan Tianjiao had a bad feeling in his heart. "Wang Xing, tell me everything you know," the imperial advisor said. Wang Xing nodded and said, "Ruan Tianjiao has indeed colluded with Luoshui Nation and has been plotting secretly. When the time comes, he will secretly rebel and proclaim himself the emperor. However, I'm a citizen of the Bright Flame Nation and I'm only loyal to His Majesty. How can I let such a thing happen? Today I'll reveal Ruan Tianjiao's wild ambition to the public." Wang Xing's voice spread throughout the place. "Wang Xing, how dare you slander me?" Ruan Tianjiao shouted, trembling with anger. It was obvious that Wang Xing had been bribed by the imperial advisor and had joined forces with the imperial advisor to frame her. However, Wang Xing was her bodyguard. Many people might believe what he said. "Ruan Tianjiao, your conspiracy has been exposed. Why don't you surrender? However, since Yen Song pleaded for you, I'll spare your life. As long as you destroy your cultivation, marry Yen Song and hand over your military power, I won't announce your rebellion to the world. I'll protect your innocence," the imperial advisor said coldly as if he had the pearl of wisdom in his hand. For this matter, he had already set up a plan. Everything was perfect and Ruan Tianjiao had no room to resist. There was only one outcome. That was to destroy her cultivation, hand over her military power, and marry his son Yen Song. Yen Song had a smug look in his eyes as he looked coldly at Nguyen Tianjiao and Lu Ming. "A slut and a dog dares to fight with me? You're simply courting death." Yen Song laughed heartily, feeling extremely pleased with himself. Especially when he looked at Nguyen Tianjiao's handsome face and perfect figure, his heart burned with passion. He wanted nothing more than to take Nguyen Tianjiao for himself. However, it will be soon, he told himself. "You, despicable." Nguyen Tianjiao was so angry that her entire body was trembling. She understood that not only did the imperial advisor want Yen Song to marry her, but he also wanted to take away her military power. At that moment, the other four great marshals had already submitted to the imperial tutor. If the Divine Dragon Army was also in his hands, then the Bright Fire Country would really become the imperial tutor's world and no one would be able to stop him. Nguyen Tianjiao cast her gaze at the monarch, but the monarch did not even look at her. All he did was chuckle and drink with concubine Qing. Nguyen Tianjiao was utterly disappointed. And? At this moment, Lu Ming's calm voice could be heard. "What?" The imperial advisor, Yen Song, and the rest were stunned. They did not understand what Lu Ming meant. "If you're not talking, then you're done. Since you're done, it's my turn to speak." Lu Ming looked around with a faint smile on his face and said, "Today's incident is like this. The imperial advisor, Yen Song, and concubine Qing led a rebellion and killed the monarch with the intention of replacing him. Then, Marshal Nguyen Tianjiao arrived with his men and killed the rebels to avenge the monarch. In the end, Nguyen Tianjiao became the empress of the Bright Fire Country with the support of the people." What? The imperial advisor, Yen Song, concubine Qing, and the rest of the people present, including Nguyen Tianjiao, were all dumbfounded. It took them a while to react. "Ha! This brat must have been scared out of his wits when he was about to die. Yen Song laughed until tears rolled down his cheeks. The imperial advisor, concubine Qing and the rest laughed too. Their laughter was filled with contempt. Lu Ming meant to kill all of them and let Nguyen Tianjiao sit on the throne of the empress. How was that possible? What a lunatic. The imperial advisor and the rest shook their heads. Lu Ming did not seem to notice the expressions of the imperial advisor and the rest. Instead, he looked at Nguyen Tianjiao and said, "Tianjiao, what do you think of my idea?" Ah. Nguyen Tianjiao was stunned and could not react in time. "I understand. Since you can't do it, let me do it." Lu Ming smiled faintly. He then stood up and walked toward Yen Song. "This guy is crazy. Kill him." Yen Song shouted. "Brat, you're crazy." Die. One of the marshals shouted and took a step forward. The ground rumbled as his burly body rushed towards Lu Ming. He was like a mountain crashing down on Lu Ming with a terrifying aura. However, Lu Ming looked calm as if he did not see the marshal making a move. He allowed the attack to come. "Be careful," Nguyen Tianjiao exclaimed. However, it was too late for him to save Nguyen Tianjiao. "Brat, go to hell?" Yen Song roared in his heart. His eyes were full of pride. "Trying to fight with him for a woman? You're courting death." At this moment, Lu Ming looked at the marshal. 2 rays of black light flashed across his eyes. Then, everyone saw the marshal's body tremble and fall to the ground with a plop. He was no longer breathing. Dead. The marshal died suddenly and silently. No one saw how the marshal died and no one saw how Lu Ming attacked. The scene suddenly quietened down. The imperial advisor's eyes narrowed slightly and a cold light flashed in them. "How dare you kill the marshal of an army? This is not a rebellion, what is it? Let's attack together and kill this person." Concubine Qing shouted beside the king. Boom, boom, boom. The other 3 marshals attacked at the same time. The 3 of them were in the Great Sage realm. When they attacked together, their momentum was terrifying. They wanted to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Die. Lu Ming didn't even look at the 3 marshals. His gaze was fixed on Yen Song as he uttered a word. The power of the divine sword art was released along with his voice and rushed into the bodies of the 3 marshals. The 3 marshals were the same as the previous marshal. Their bodies trembled slightly and their souls were destroyed by Lu Ming. Their bodies fell to the ground softly and there was no longer any breath left. Dead, they were dead again. The 4 marshals, the top experts of the Bright Fire country, were all dead in an instant. No one saw how they died. There was a series of gasps at the scene. They only heard Lu Ming say the word, "die," and the 3 marshals were dead. This was too terrifying. What kind of supernatural power was this? It was as if Lu Ming was the Grim Reaper. Whoever he wanted to kill would die. Yen Song's face changed and turned as pale as a sheet. His eyes were filled with fear. The imperial advisor and concubine Qing's faces also changed and became extremely solemn. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.